I've worn glasses for like 8 years, right?
All right.
And a couple weeks ago, I raw dogged putting my glasses in my bag, and I scratched them up really badly.
Reckless. You gotta take it easy.
Raw
man.
dogging is just become this thing now.
Use it for every word.
Every
I use it all the
possible
time.
thing
It's
that abandoning any caution of anything is raw dogging.
Yeah.
Okay, right, got it.
Ruined my glasses, so I booked to go and get a checkup today. And also, I think it's the first time I had my eyes checked since I moved to America.
Right.
I spent 90 minutes in this place. Do you know what they tell me?
Okay.
Do you know what they tell me?
You don't need glasses.
I've got 20/20 vision. I don't need glasses.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
right.
what?
Yeah.
You have regenerative powers, and your eyesight got better over time.
No, I feel like that millionaire who's spending his entire fortune on trying not to age. Like, that's me. And I don't know how.
Sure.
I think I have maybe the slightest astigmatism. But they said, yeah. They didn't even try and upsell me glasses.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy.
That's how... So what the hell was going on in the UK that they made me wear glasses for 8 years?
The NHS needs every dollar it can get, and they
even-
were trying to hustle you out of some money.
I didn't even go through
That's
the
what
NHS. I
happened.
went through... I'm going to put them on blast. Vision Express. So...
Oh, should have gone to
Vision
Specsavers.
there you go.
Should- Zing! We got there in the end.
Anyway, so
It's a
I
nice
guess
setup.
I won't wear glasses anymore.
Yeah, can you give me some of what you're having? Because I am blind as a bat.
But like, I miss them. I feel like, you know, you can kind of hide behind them a little bit, you know? Sometimes. No, just me. Okay.
Yeah, I reckon,
Clark
and they
Kent
make you
be
look,
like-
and they make you look smart. They make you look smart. Oh, did you see the photo of Superman when he's like dressed as Clark Kent?
Why has he got the
No.
broccoli hair? He's kind of got like the
Why the
Fortnite kid
fuck has he
broccoli
got
hair.
that haircut, man?
Yeah.
He's just, what is going on with that one? Come on now. And how is he gonna get his hair every time he does a suit change? He's also gonna redo his hair. Come on.
Oh,
now,
well,
that's
that
ridiculous.
just happened. That's part of the magic.
No. People say that the photo of him putting on his boots, it looks a lot like me. Have you seen this?
Yes.
No. Puts on
And
the
now,
boots.
okay, there's a photo of him putting on his boots.
Like the
Okay,
reveal
Google
photo.
it.
Okay,
Yes.
So
Superman,
do like
Superman
Superman
boots.
reveal photo, and then
Oh, that does look a little bit like you. Yeah.
yeah, and I was like, all right,
Yeah,
cool, I'll take it.
okay.
I'll take it on that one very specific angle. I'll take
Yeah.
it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, maybe I'm Superman. You guys just don't know it. Maybe this is my alternative secret identity.
Oh, that's cool. I feel like if you're
Fucking
Wait,
Superman,
nerd.
is that hang on? Like your skill up logo? It's like on my planet. This means hope.
yeah, that's right.
that
It
means skill. Or no, shill.
That's right. Exactly.
Oh, well, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Friends Per Second podcast. I'm Lucy, joined as always by Ralph and Jake. Hello, boys.
Hello.
We're back
Hello.
in our homes now. We're not all together
Yeah.
in Los Angeles anymore. Isn't that sad?
Back
It
at
is.
Yeah.
I had the Rona when I got back.
Yeah.
I did
How you
sucked
doing
ass.
now?
it. Damn.
Good. I was like, to be honest with you, it was very, very mild Rona. I was like, I tested positive. Like, I felt a bit crappy. 2 days later, I was feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
And then, like, the fourth day or whatever, I was testing negative. I was all good by the weekend. It was like
Hmm.
a very, very mild, like, I've had colds that hit way harder than this did. So
Yeah.
I lucked out big time, I think.
Is
No.
it weird
alright.
that I almost like podcasting like this more? Like I like seeing you guys in person, but I'm like nervous in person. Like every time we do an in-person podcast, I shit you
Sure.
not, like people at home listening, I sound weird for like the first half, and then I like get into a groove, and then in the second half I'm normal. Like it's like I
think
have
it's
to
like-
warm up to it.
Weird.
You're in your home environment. It makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it's
and
not
also,
you
there's a
guys.
lot of stress that goes into that event because you got to set up the fucking room and you got to do this and
Yeah.
that. And there's like a million. And plus,
Yeah.
we're exhausted after that week
Yeah.
of summer games as
Yeah.
well. So here it's just like we roll out of bed, we put on our Highlander t-shirt, and we're ready to go. You know
Roll
what I
out
mean?
of bed. I was like, I had to work a full day, cook dinner,
That's true.
Yeah.
clean,
That's true.
and then come over here and talk to your asses. And I'm very happy to be doing so.
People speaking of setting up that hotel room, our eagle-eyed users caught the fact that it was an ironing
Yeah.
board.
You were like,
Immediately.
I forget someone asked, like, are they going to notice it's an ironing board? I'm like, give
Oh,
them
yeah.
0.4 seconds.
Yeah.
They will notice this is an ironing board, okay?
The fact,
So-
I think my favorite comment was not the ironing board in the hotel cuck chair.
That's right. That's
that
right.
made me like laugh really hard.
That
I didn't
was so
expect that.
funny.
I thought we had some pretty mild mannered people.
No.
Yeah, we got some peeps in our comments.
So we're
Yeah,
always gonna
for
have to
sure.
use an ironing board moving
Yeah.
forward.
We'll just take it with us. Even if we did a live show,
Yeah.
we'll just
We'll
take
just get
an
the
ironing board
ironing
with us
board.
and we'll record off that. You know,
I like it.
It's
He looks like a little
thing.
ghost, kind of, from like a certain angle. Or like when
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah, yeah.
Bean hid the painting under the sheet. You know, that's what I always think of.
From the movie.
Yeah.
From the Mr. Bean movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Sure.
The movie's pretty good, right? Like,
Yeah, I
like the
mean, I don't
movie.
know how. I haven't watched Mr. Bean in so long.
The movie's
it's
very
funny
different.
that you Americans got Mr. Bean at all. Like that's just weird that you guys would know what that
Nah,
is.
Mr.
and-
Bean's tight, dude. I fuck with him.
That's it. I never really got into Mr. Bean as a kid.
Yeah, sure.
But I know a lot of Americans who really, really like Mr. Bean. I was
Okay,
more. I
interesting.
think I was a bit too young for it. I was watching a lot of Wallace and Gromit on repeat.
Yeah,
That's
right.
my kind of humor. Wallace and Gromit coming
Sure.
back, by the way. Feathers
course.
McGraw.
Don't know who that is, but sure.
I mean,
he's a,
I
he's, a,
hope-
he's a penguin masquerading as a chicken, Ralph. Come on.
They brought back my
Well.
chicken run, and it wasn't good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But Feathers McGraw, though. Anyway,
Yeah.
we've got a packed episode as per usual. We're going to be talking about Elden Ring with IGN's very own Mitch Saltzman, and what a delight that man is.
It
He's
was a good chat.
He's
He's
the goat.
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
We covered all the Elden Ring bases, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So also as someone who hasn't played the DLC, very good conversation. I liked hearing about it, and I'm like, damn,
For sure.
I am gonna play it. Okay.
And we also have
It's-
user
yeah.
questions, what we've been playing, show and tell. It's kind of a weird, because now that Summer Game Fest is over, it's like this weird fallow period until things
What
properly.
period?
Oh man, it's quiet. It's
kick off.
quiet out there for a while.
Yeah.
Say fallow
It's,
period. What does that mean?
It's like when you're you have your fallow fields. Did you guys? Okay, I'm gonna say one of
What
those
is
weird
that?
things that might be like Lucy Law.
Go on.
When you were a kid at school, were you not given like a tutor person to be, and then in history class, and then everyone in your class was a different tutor, and then you had to live your life, and then some of you died throughout the course of the class. No, okay, just me.
Like a one specific historical tutor? Like how many are there?
No,
that-
but like
oh,
I think
do you mean tutor? Like T, or do you mean Tudor?
Tudor.
Like
like
DOR.
DOR, like
Yes.
So you
No,
were-
we were not conditioned that way. We were not welcomed in. We were not welcome to our station in life.
Well,
in this
the American
fucking
education
weird ass
system
school
is actively
system
trying
that
not
taught
to
us
teach
our
us who they are.
that taught us our caste and then made us die
so-
if we tried to rise above our station.
Yeah.
No, we did not have
I
this.
remember.
Okay.
I remember I was a yeoman, and some people.
Oh my god.
Some people in my class were like lords and ladies. But
That is so fucked up. They literally taught you upstairs, downstairs
And
in
then-
like year 3.
and then some
That
of
is
them-
so messed
And
up.
then some of them would like die in childbirth, and some of them would just die of the plague. Anyway, that's where I learned about.
Kids in the class with like the last names like Stuart Baker. You go die in a field somewhere.
I was
You
like,
know,
and
this is
sadly, I can't remember what my character was called. But anyway, that's where I learned that when you're in agriculture, when you're planting fields, like you leave it off, like you don't plant anything for a year and let all the nutrients and stuff come back, and that's called the fallow year. But also, I use it in a really weird. So John Ronson, he wrote like the Psychopath Test, Men Who Stare at Goats, and
Yeah.
a very great author. He did a podcast series about porn and the origins of porn on the internet. It's called The Butterfly Effect. It's really, really good. But there's one episode, and I'll never forget it. It's like one of those things that I can't get out of my mind. If you are over the age of like 21, before you're classed as a MILF, they call it the fallow years between teen and MILF,
Oh,
which is
jeez.
dark as hell.
Whoa.
But I will never
Jesus
forget
Christ.
it.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's a really interesting podcast. I genuinely recommend, like, stuff that came from porn, like A/B testing, SEO, like all that shit comes from porn.
All of the greatest advancements
Yeah.
in human civilization generally started with porn.
Yeah.
That's the technologies and technological advances that we've made.
Yeah,
Yep, sure.
but also it's genuinely like such a good podcast series. I think it's on Audible now. Anyway, We're going.
That was a quick anyway. Usually there's a bit of a pause. Anyway, but you were just straight into that anyway. Like, I want to get off this topic.
Anyway, let's go.
Welcome to the Elden Ring podcast. Yeah.
Let's go to
actually, I will say one thing. We do have a block coming up, the live Q&A block, and that is pulled from our... Yes. So basically, over the weekend, we did a charity fundraising stream. We managed to raise over $60,000 for cancer research. It was myself and a crew called the Back Pocket Team. They're Australian-based team. Fantastic. Absolutely love them. And we did a 12-hour stream. We had tons of guests. We had the Kind of Funny crew and a bunch of other people joined for a haters debate about which platform is best.
That's good.
Definitely worth checking that out if you missed it. We had Alanah Pearce stop by for our Q&A block, which we will actually have that Q&A block in this episode, by the way. So if you missed that one, you'll see it later in the show. We had the voice of Clive Rosfield, Shadowheart, and Lady Dimitrescu all get together, and they did a live reading of the Sonic the Hedgehog 1999 animated movie script.
Incredible.
And it was incredible. We had, who else did we have? Man, there was just so many I can't even remember now. We had like a cosplay competition. Austin and Edmund were in the studio with us, which is fantastic.
That was great.
We had a really great day.
You got
so
pies
thank you to
in the
everyone.
face? You got like
Yeah,
a pie.
you got
pie in the
I love
face.
that.
What is that
Multiple
like?
times.
Big fan.
What kind of what?
Say again?
What is?
Oh,
the
it
thing
was
on the top?
it was
Like shaving cream? Yeah.
It was shaving cream. So it was actually quite nice, to be honest with you. It was light and airy, and your face smelled fantastic.
Oh, not even
So
like
it's great.
tasty, like whipped cream.
Oh, dude, no.
Nothing.
So
Shaving cream.
way back in the day at GameSpot, I'm talking like 2015, 14 maybe. We did get Seb Ford in the face with an actual whipping cream pie. That shit went everywhere, and our facilities manager yelled at us. She didn't yell. She, yelled in an office situation. She got so mad at us
Office yelling
because it went in a phone. Back,
Oh, no.
Like we still used the phone, so it went in all the little holes in the phone. It went on the carpet. It went on the keyboard, and it's sticky and just like shaving foam is much better.
Yeah. So it was a good day.
Great job
and
with
thank you
it.
to everyone who stopped by. Thank you to everyone who donated so generously. As I said, it finished at about 52,000, but then some more donations came in after that, and so we're now at about 60k, over 60k. So that's huge, and we will do it again next year, most likely. So please look forward to it.
Yes.
As they say in Japan. But that'll be coming up later in the episode. You'll see the live Q&A block that we did.
Just a nice chat.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
But first,
a live chat that we didn't stream anywhere
correct.
with our lovely friend Mitch about Elden Ring.
Mitch, thank you for being here. How's it going, man?
Oh my God, Jake Baldino.
Don't.
You guys
It's
go
so good
back,
to be
right?
here.
You guys go back,
We
right?
got lore.
We go back, yeah.
Yeah, go on, tell us.
Should we reveal the lore? Yeah. Do you want to?
Oh man. Well, I mean, before I joined IGN, I was a video producer at GameRanks. Mostly video editor, I would say. My embarrassing story is that I had the dumb idea of calling myself Spidey because of a comment that appeared on my very first video that said we're going to call this new person Spidey. And to me, it was almost like a serendipitous moment because when I was a junior counselor, my name was Spidey. So I was like, oh my God, like how is it possible that this person could have that connection? And so I ran with it. I look back on it. It was very embarrassing. I used to introduce myself or sign off as Spidey. And I don't know if I ever got to apologize to you for that, Jake. So I'm sorry.
You should apologize to me for, and now I'm gonna like blow some smoke up you, but for being an incredible worker, person. I felt so threatened, like with my job. I was like, I need to work harder. I need to be a better gamer. I need to be a better editor. I need to be a better everything.
No.
So thank you for pushing me. But the bottom line is, it was nice to see you go on to greener pastures. Of course, now you're at IGN, and you are the person I look to the most at IGN. I know you're centered around guides and stuff, but like when you show up and chime in about a fighting game, Souls-like, I'm there.
And people listen as well, as in
Yeah.
like the because IGN gets a lot of shit in the comment section about like reviews and whatever else. It's very like there's a bunch of people that do reviews for IGN. The freelancers come in as well, but people see your name and they're like, oh, good, Mitch is reviewing the latest FromSoft thing. That's good. We know we're happy with this. You know what I mean? Because I think you've built a reputation that people like really know that you know what you're talking about when it comes to these sorts of games. And that's I think hard to do at a big publication like that to really get your name like to stand out like that with regards to one specific genre, you know what I mean? So people see your gamer cred, man.
That really means the world to me. I think the world of all three of you guys. So thank you so much for having me here, and thank you for the kind words.
It's raw talent, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I remember you specifically, like when working with us, you clearly did have a knack with covering the Souls-like games. So now with Erdtree, the review's out, you gave it a 10. How does it feel to do a review like that? Like, because we've all covered this type of game before. It is massive, but to do it for such a big outlet, like, are you sweating about that the entire time you're playing through the game? Like, what is your brain like?
I definitely sweated it for the base game. That was a crazy review process, not just because of how enormous the game was and how little time we had to play it, but like you said, it was just the expectations were unbelievable for that game. Coming back to this, I feel like it's a little less intense. We had more time with it. I was able to get through it, even though it was really difficult. I feel like I was able to get through it quicker. There were like definitely some spots that I threw my head against the wall, just like, not being able to get past for extended periods of time. But yeah, it feels good reviewing these kinds of games, man. I like not having a guide to fall back on, or not having, stuff to kind of help you through it, because to me that increases the satisfaction that I get for overcoming a difficult thing. And this whole review process thing, I think for the DLC was about as good as it can be.
That is something, right? I feel like, it's like you're in the complete unknown with a game like this. And you have no guide, you have no advice or anything. The only thing we loosely sometimes have is like some smoke signals sent up by other reviewers. Just
we have each other, right?
Yeah. Ralph, I feel
like
like you're good with that. Like every once in a while you jump in and you're like, hey, did you finish this? Hey, did you guys do this? Like there's some of that. Does that help you? Do you look for that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but I also reach out sometimes for some help. Definitely, the reviewers, we were kind of chatting because I got stuck at one point, and I'm like, where the fuck do I go, man? So luckily, it was actually Gene helped me get past one bottleneck where I just couldn't find my way forward, man. And he just like, go here, and I'm like, thank you, and then I was able to continue on. But I remember distinctly what it was like to review the base game on our own, with no guides at all. And that was honestly one of the most like special review experiences I've ever had. Because we're the only ones that get to do that. I mean, obviously you can choose to not read a guide. For sure, you can choose to have that experience. But most people, and I would definitely put myself into this bucket, if there is the guide out there and you're really stuck, you're going to go and have a little bit of a peek. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's how it is. But for us, most of the time when we're in this review process, it's just like you're on your own, man. And you were seeing this stuff for the first time. And it's a very, very special experience, I think, to have a game like this that you get to experience it that way. I'll never forget that review process. But also because Miyazaki's a fucking liar, right? Whereas, I remember the review process for Elden Ring where he, before the release, he telegraphed that it was basically the same size as, like, a Dark Souls game.
Yeah, that's cute.
And we're thinking, okay, 40 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
Complete bullshit. Like, such a lie. And then he did it again with Erdtree, where it's like, oh, it's roughly the same size as Limgrave. Yeah, if you stack like 5 Limgraves on top of each other, it's the same size. Fuck you, man. So I will never trust another thing that man says when it comes to how long a game is.
Look, he under-promises and over-delivers.
Okay?
It's true.
Time.
But that's great for consumers. That's not good for us as reviewers who kind of like partition our time and we're thinking about, okay, how long do I need to finish this game? If I grind, because that's what I did during the base game, where I was like, okay, I'm going to grind for like 18 hours today, and it should be enough to get me to the point where I'll be fine, right? These are the actual calculations that I did in my head. I was like, let's go 18 hours, I should be okay. Do 18 hours. Turns out you're like 1/5 through the game. You know what I mean? Like, so that was wild. That was totally wild.
So, I mean, takeaway, Lucy, I haven't heard from you. Are you digging it? Because you're still working your way through it.
Not reviewing it, doing it slowly.
Good.
I know. So it's like, that's the thing, because I also did that with the main game. I got it a few days early, but I don't review stuff because I just don't have. I don't know. I did it for a little bit, and then it's just not kind of what I like to do when I'm talking about games. I get way in my head about scores and points and everything, and
you review here.
Yeah, I guess
that's right.
I
Exactly.
I would rather have like a chat about a game and how it in like with other people rather than like words on a page, because I think I get very introspective sometimes when I talk about games, and also it's a high pressure process, and I don't think I'm cut out for it anymore. So I am not reviewing it. I was grinding through Summer Game Fest because I went to the preview event, so I got to do the 3 hours hands-on, and as soon as I played
Does your save transfer?
No.
That would be nice.
Which is good though, because they didn't have obviously like a build that I sort of liked. Like I wanted to get straight into it, so I didn't have time to mess around and, you know, pop a larval tier and change everything around. I just went with a pre-made. So I replayed the game. I was grinding through Summer Game Fest, and then I just started playing it, and I was really worried. I tweeted this out at the time, like my tweet review, quote unquote, is that I was really afraid that I wouldn't have the same amount of wonder and magic upon discovering new areas, or like that things wouldn't hit as hard. Because, I mean, you can compare it to Zelda. I think it's in terms of like, oh, around every corner there's something magical. I think when it comes to Zelda Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, everything's very samey. You cannot say the same about Elden Ring, because everything is so distinct and unique, and I'm a huge fan of high fantasy and dark fantasy. And so I've been playing it, and, you know, I was playing the same 3 hour section that we played in the preview, and I was like, okay, yeah, I remember this bit, this bit, this bit. And then I accidentally went somewhere, and I was like, oh, we're back, baby. Oh, yeah. And then my entire experience ever since then has been that, just like, now I'm sad on the other end of it, because I'm like, when will a game make me feel like this again? And I'm not even finished. Like, I ended up, not going to spoil anything for people, but like, I just found myself in like a really random place, and I just don't think I was supposed to be there. And it's like probably one of the most beautiful areas FromSoft has ever designed. And I was like, holy shit, you know? And so I don't want to rush through it. And also my repetitive strain injury is really bad again, so I literally can't rush through it. I got some special tape today.
Nice.
I need to start taping up my
Like an athlete.
Yeah, like the wrestlers wear.
You can like strap it up for your
Yeah,
next Elden Ring session, like one of the montages. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, totally. I see it.
So I'm really enjoying it. I'm desperately waiting for Vati to just put out a lore video so that I can fully get to grips with
What's going on?
I don't know. Yeah. I was texting Tam about it. Like, there's a lot of jars in it, and I was like,
there's also a lot of the inside of the jars.
Yeah, I immediately texted Tam, and I was like, is this what Alexander is? Help me.
And now when you see now when you see the little jars as well, by the way, you think, oh no, what have I done? Like, these poor little jars.
Poor
little baby
jars. Anyway,
little baby jars. They're just trying to protect their mummies and daddies. And look how what we do to them.
Up. It's so messed
It
up.
is.
But I love it.
How is that aspect of it, Mitch? Like the story stuff, the lore stuff, is that fulfilling? Is that additive, or is it just more gameplay?
Well, I am too waiting for the Vati video episode talking about the DLC, because a lot of it, you know, I said this in my review, I'm a fairly casual kind of Elden Ring lore enjoyer. I know certain things. I don't know the deeper motivations of all the demigods, and, like, you know, the family tree of everyone. But even with a kind of a surface level, casual level of Elden Ring knowledge, there were some interesting reveals, I would say, especially towards the end of the campaign, if you want to call it that. yeah, I don't know how deep we want to go into spoiler territory. I know we're talking that this was like a deep dive into everything, but
I reckon we can do like some deep spoiler stuff at the end of this block.
Yeah.
So we can do like a spoiler warning then and just
time
a
stamp.
jump. So I reckon
Sure.
for now, let's keep it spoiler free.
Sure. But yeah, I think, it's never my driving force to finish a game like it would be like a typical RPG. But I do think that there were some really nice lore surprises, I would say, going through this game.
Yeah.
I want to shout out
sure.
Quaylag on Twitter, because she's been doing like, I haven't been watching her streams, but she's been doing tweets and like just pointing out some things. She even did like a little thing of like, hey, here's some lore that you need to know to appreciate stuff in Shadow of the Erdtree, which I thought was awesome. And so that was shout out to her.
Yeah, the narrative structure of it is actually really, I found compelling, because in the base game, it's basically just like, become the Elden Lord. And it's like, all right, guess I'll go do that. And obviously there's a whole other, set of stories, and there's the lore and whatever else. But that main story is just like, kill everything you see and you'll be the Elden Lord. Versus this is like, you're kind of hunting, chasing Mikola. There's this mysterious figure who's come to this place for reasons unknown. And, they've like left parts of their body behind at certain points. And you're basically tracing like their journey and speaking to NPCs along the way about what they're up to and whatever else. And I love that. I thought it was super cool. I actually found it, I didn't find it so heavy-handed that it was like giving away too much, but I found it breadcrumby enough that I could follow it with intense interest. Versus, again, with the base game, I was just like, all right, you want me to kill everything? I'll go and do that, I guess, So I think that was a success. But I did see some people, like, obviously there was the Eurogamer review, where I think they weren't as fond of that storytelling approach, because they felt as though, like, the more readable FromSoft games become, the less interesting they are as a text.
Yeah.
And I can understand that perspective, for sure. But I don't think it went so far as that it stopped feeling like a FromSoft game. I didn't feel like it was spoon feeding me. I felt like it was guiding me, and I felt that they got that balance right. So I love that component of it, to be honest with you, and I would really like it if they approach storytelling in a similar way in the future, because we've had so many games where From just kind of dump you somewhere and they just like go forward and kill. Understanding, of course, so there's huge amounts of story all around that, but I liked how they dealt with this a lot, actually. I think it was a real success of the expansion.
Yeah, I think it was nice to have that direction of like, here is the path that we have laid out for you. Find it and follow it to the end. But also, you don't have to follow that path. You can still go whichever way you want. You can still try to find, the path that unlocks this part of the map. And also, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Berserk, but I've heard a lot of people.
I have a Berserk tattoo, baby.
Oh, nice. I heard a lot of people say that this story reminds them a lot of Berserk, and Berserk is a big inspiration, obviously, of Miyazaki. I saw someone tweet that Miyazaki has said he'll never make a Berserk game, but Shadow of the Erdtree is about as close to a Berserk game as he can be without just being one.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of people obviously will draw comparisons between kindly Mikola and Griffith, but I'm not far enough in the story to see how true that comparison really is. But
it's pretty wild at the end.
That's the guy with the big sword, right? Berserk.
That's Guts.
Guts,
Yeah,
Guts.
The guy with the big sword.
His name is Guts?
His name is Guts.
His name is Gutsu, if you go by the Japanese pronunciation.
It does sound
of it.
way cooler. Gutsu.
It's because of the way I think it's because of the way he's found when he's a baby. It's It's been a while since I read it, but the whole thing is incredible. One of the greatest stories ever told, but like it's fucking gross sometimes. Yeah. It's great.
So
go, Jake.
From a gameplay perspective, I don't have a clear idea of like what this really adds. What does it really overhaul? I've heard a lot about the Skadu tree, but it's not how you say it. It's like Shadada tree.
Gene says it's pronounced shadow.
Shadow.
But I've been calling it.
We talked about this before the podcast. Apparently, it's one of these annoying Gaelic words that you clearly pronounce one way, but then no. Actually, you have to ignore all the consonants and then change every vowel sound, and then that's how you say it. Like Siobhan. Come on now, what the hell is that?
It's an illusory word. You have to hit it. And it turns into the actual...
Nice. Nice. That's good. That's good.
So what are the fragments?
Yeah, I mean,
and what is that? Is this a new layer of progression?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, so I mean, interesting point to talk about, really. So the way it works is you obviously still have your rune levels, you know, and that's how you will get stronger in one sense. You will level up and whatever else. But you kind of hit a pretty hard plateau by the time you reach this expansion, because you should be like level 120 to 150. You start hitting the sort of like soft and hard caps for stat scaling. And so it's like, well, how do you become more powerful then so that they can throw more challenging bosses at you? And these fragments are the answer, and they basically just make you stronger. They just buff your stats even further. You know, beyond that, they sort of break a lot of the scaling models that start to kick in with the normal rune leveling system. And you find them a variety of ways. Most of the time, they're found just by exploring the world. So if you just go around and just like go to a new place and walk along the road, you probably see like, you know, some big enemy in the distance who's standing there, and underneath him is a fragment. You just, you know, just run up on your horse and pick it up if you like, or you can fight the enemy. It's up to you. But that's how most of them, some of them are hidden behind bosses and all this sort of stuff and progression gates. But a lot of the time, and I actually would be interested to see how many of them you could get right off the jump. Like there's already a guide, I'm sure, that just shows you when you step into there, how many of these could you just pick up straight away by running around. But I would wager it's a lot.
Because they only work in the realm of shadow too, right? Like when you go back to normal map, you lose all that. And there is one that works for your mimic, I say mimic tier. Absolutely expose myself by only using mimic tier.
So commonly misunderstood. There is more than just one summon ash.
One? I've never found one. I had to work on torrent and your whatever summon ashes you have at cribs. Could be the mimic tier, could be someone else. I don't know.
Oh, does it buff torrent as well? I didn't know it buff torrent.
Yes. Yeah, your spectral
I didn't know that.
stage.
Yeah, fair enough. I didn't know that. So yeah, it's an interesting solution to the scaling challenge that you might encounter here. Personally, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it, Mitch. I don't love it. I think it's really boring because it's just like, hey, get stronger. And it's like, all right, it does encourage exploration, but I didn't need any more encouragement to do that, to be honest. So it's not like, oh, well, now that I've, you know, got these things to go and collect, I guess I'll go and explore the Shadowlands. No, I was going to do that anyway. So the fact that I just get stronger is not particularly interesting to me. And I really would have liked to see a system that did something else. I don't know, like throwing out random ideas, like, messes with your equip load limits or gives you more, I don't know, like changes the way some of your spells work. Or I don't know, like these are all terrible ideas. But my point is something else that opens up the build craft a little more and that maybe allows me to experience the game more freely in that final chapter. Because I think one of the challenges is, even though we've got larval tiers, it's still a bit of a pain in the ass to respec a character and whatever else. And I don't know, if we just had something that allowed us a bit more free form in our build craft stuff, I would have liked that. Or something that enabled some otherwise impossible builds in that last little chapter, I think would have been really cool. So I don't know, Mitch, what do you think about that? What do you think of that system?
I actually really like it a lot. I think with this DLC, there's two big problems that FromSoft had to address. And the first one is what you kind of already described. It's the fact that people coming into this DLC have hit the upper echelon of like what their character can do. They've approached all the caps. You can, level up your character up to 999. You're not going to be hitting that much harder than a character who's like 150 just because of the nature of the stat scaling and stuff like that. So how do you create bosses that will meet like the expectation of the hardcore Elden Ring player of like, if when I come into an Elden Ring DLC, what I want to be challenged still. I want to have that same challenge that I had when I played the base game, but in this new area. And so I think the Shadow Tree fragments or Shadow Tree fragments for the Gaelic pronunciation, I think they kind of solve that problem in a very easy and elegant way. And they also kind of address the issue of, what kind of rewards are you going to have in this new DLC? People already have their builds pretty much already set. You can have 100 new weapons, but if someone's attached to the thing that got them this far, they're not really going to want to switch off of it. So how do you encourage people to still explore and still find something that's going to be worthwhile to them? And I think the Shadow Tree fragments kind of fill that, or satisfy that goal as well. And about the question of like how many levels can you get just by running around, I did a video of like things to do first in Elden Ring, and I'm not gonna say it was comprehensive, but it was pretty solidly like going around all the areas that you can go to without like fighting a boss. And I can get you up to like level 7. So with that, you're doing like 35% more damage on every attack. Yeah. So that's a big.
That's massive.
Yeah, that's a big.
That's like
boost
equipping. That's like equipping like an extra 3 talismans, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you can get plus 3 talismans now as well.
Yeah.
Which are
those two.
I went in and got the health plus 3 one, which also because I like you said, Ralph, when you were like, I don't need any more incentive to go explore. But because I am the explory person and I will just wander off and I will not leave that first legacy dungeon without exploring and opening everything. And so I feel like I have been scaling really nicely alongside everything, but I know and have seen the discourse online where a lot of people are not doing that. And so I really wonder, I feel like that's what it was maybe like when we were playing the opening 3 hours, because I felt like I was getting my ass absolutely handed to me, couldn't do anything. And then I did the dancing lion my way with my build and like after getting all these shadow tree fragments, and it was like I did him on like my 5th try. I did the Moon Knight on my 2nd try. I couldn't even
R'Alanah?
Yeah.
Wow.
I have a build that I was talking to Jesse Vitelli about it, and he described it as my little fucker build. And it really has been doing the work. So yeah, like hot swapping my mimic tier to give it a talisman and do not talisman. What's the thing that lets you do incantations? Seal.
The seal, yeah.
Seal.
So I have heal from afar and rotten breath, and then I swap back to my katana that has bleed and poison.
Sure.
So
that'll do it.
So you're like annoying.
I'm annoying.
Sure. But I mean, like,
I love that.
But I think that's like an interesting segue into, I think, this whole question about like the difficulty model of this DLC, and like people are like, this is too hard, and it's like, well, when people say that, what they're saying is, so first of all, only some people are saying this, and I think fewer people are saying it now that they're getting more of the shadow tree fragments, however you say it, and they're like, all right, cool, they're seeing how the scaling really works, but they're also saying it in relation to things like the amount of poise that bosses have. They're saying it in relation to the attack windows that are presented to the player.
Cannot get in a fucking boss room and summon my mimic tier.
Well, their bosses, they don't let you do that anymore. As soon as you get in there, they're just like fucking on you, and you're like, calm down, man. But then you get up, as I said, bosses that sort of, they just spin around a lot. They just like flail about a lot, and it's kind of hard to pass their movements. Camera is obviously a bit of a challenge in those encounters. But yeah, obviously those big long sets of combos that are like 5 to 7 swings, that track you on certain hits and whatever else, and then you really only get like a small window with which to attack before they restart their combo series. That, I think, is what people are complaining about when they talk about the difficulty, or at least if they're really diving deep into what that means, right? So, I don't know, I was interested to see, Mitch, what you thought about how this later, boss design was working for you, and do you agree with that feedback or that criticism of where FromSoft have landed with their boss design, etc.?
I guess I don't super agree with it, because I feel like Elden Ring had a lot of bosses like that too. Like the base game, I don't think it's that much different in terms of, the crazy attack patterns that certain bosses have, because I remember playing Elden Ring and all I could get off with a lot of weapons that I was using was a jump attack, and that's what you do. You just jump in, you do a jump attack, you roll out, you wait for your next opportunity. So I felt like there definitely was a lot of that in the boss design of this game. There's not many bosses where you have that window where you can get like 3 strikes in real quick. The bosses are aggressive, they're relentless, but it's just kind of one of those things where I feel like you just kind of have to adapt to it and learn those moves. Yeah,
I mean, I agree in the sense that I don't think it's that different. Look, I do think it's brought up a level. I do think the level of aggression that's present here is more, and the attack windows are smaller. And all of that is further exacerbated by the raw damage output of these bosses, where like most of them will 2-hit you. Even if you've got, because I had like a decent number of the fragments as I played through, but even then, like final bosses were absolutely 2-shotting me, despite the fact that I had a moderate amount of armor and like I was, it wasn't like a full defensive build by any means, but I was like, I was a little bit chunky, and you would still just get absolutely 2-shot.
The golems,
so
the fire,
say again?
the fire golems. I can't.
Oh, sure.
Jesus
Yeah, no.
Christ.
Yeah, they just have all the health in the world.
What homing features do
Yeah,
they
that's some
have?
bullshit
Like,
on that.
fucking, it's like playing Battlefield and I'm getting sniped from the other side of a map by a pixel.
Yeah. But I think look, I think a lot of the time as well when I see that discourse, I think people expect to be able to play Elden Ring in exactly the way they want to play it the entire way through.
Yeah.
And I think that is born out of, you look at something like Bloodborne and Sekiro, where you can do that because you must do that. There's a very narrow combat framework that FromSoft have built, where they've controlled the inputs and outputs in a very strict sense. And that allows them to tune encounters around, how much damage you do, how much damage the boss is expected to deal, and they can construct these encounters that are very based upon like physical melee confrontations. Elden Ring though is like you can stack 4 talismans and the fucking blasphemous blade and mimic tear, and you can just absolutely L2 a boss to death in no time at all, right? That is a legitimate playstyle that you can do, and that is an option on the table. And similarly, you can be the level 1 character that is naked with just like a little stick in their hand, and they're just slowly whacking away at the boss. And that also works because all the encounters have been so thoroughly tested that it is possible to do that. You know what I mean? So I do feel as though I view this as an extension of like the difficulty debate. When people, that's not really the right way to phrase it. When people talk about like how hard this game is, I really view it in the context of the way that FromSoft, Miyazaki and co. have given us a very flexible difficulty selection model that we just need to accept. And if we want to make this the easiest game ever, we actually can, because there's a lot of bullshit you can stack in to get this DLC down really fast. But if you want to go like just with your basic builds, like no status effects, just you and your whatever else versus a boss, you can do that too. So I actually think that it's pretty remarkable how much range is possible within that, how much choice is possible within that. It's almost like a difficulty model that I can't think of another game that has delivered a difficulty model as flexible as this in this way. And I think that point is lost when we talk about, is Erdtree too difficult? Does that point make sense?
100%.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was very much what I sensed in the base game as well, where they're like, add an easy mode to Dark Souls. And Miyazaki's like, no, I'm not doing that. But he did do all this other stuff, And I think a lot of people just don't want to have to use the mimic tear because they're like, no, I don't want to. It's like, okay, you don't have to. You just have to be really good without it. And if you're not that good and you're struggling, then maybe
you have it.
Maybe think about the mimic tear, or maybe think about a lesser summon, like whatever else. Just something else just to give you a little bit of an edge. There's no shame in it. They gave you the tools for a reason. Have a crack. And then maybe if you want to come back later on a second playthrough, then maybe you have a go at it without the mimic tear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I was going to say, there's been an interesting observation, I guess, that like talking back to the original Dark Souls, is like From put all those things in to assist you, like summons, NPC summons, human summons. And then it was kind of the Western marketing that made like really hammered home the prepare to die stuff. And that's become synonymous with the games now. And like they are punishingly difficult. And then it's kind of become morphed into this grind set. It's not a mindset, it's a grind set, baby, where like anything other than SL1 is a wasted time. You're not playing it properly. You're not playing it. And it's like, well, not really. Like if you read the really nice story about why Miyazaki and where he got the ideas for like how people help each other out in those games, like jolly cooperation was always at the heart of it. It's the way that you're kind of approaching the game and deciding to push against that. Yeah. But I mean, can you guys think of like another game that is really that gives you a number of options to be able to select how hard you want it to be, and that's kind of very deeply baked into the DNA of the game? Nothing that's not like a slider in an options menu.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Outside of being a slider, of course. Yeah.
Not in a way that is structured like this, where it's a massive open world with so much freedom, where it's like, go find a way to make the game easier. I just think of things like God Hand. Remember the meter that God Hand had for how you were doing the game? Yeah, I don't know. That's the only thing I could think of.
You would level up the more you defeated enemies, and level down like every time you got hit or something, right?
I mean, I was gonna say, if we're talking about like dynamic difficulty, Resident Evil and etc., but that's not you're not specifically selecting things. It's you dying that's or succeeding that's changing that for you.
Yeah,
and it's still the same path, A to B.
I think Hitman is a great example of that. You've got all the runs of people doing, no disguise runs of Hitman. There's all kinds of in-game challenges for playing the game a certain way that alters the difficulty without actually giving you a slider to change how the game plays.
That's a great
and then,
one.
there's stuff like Deus Ex also, where just you have a whole bunch of different ways. Some are easier, some are harder, but you can play the game the way you want.
Yeah,
I guess Dishonored and Prey. I mean, more so Dishonored with like ghost clean hands kind of stuff, but also you can choose to not take the powers. You can choose which bone charms you use, which runes, etc. So not as in depth or sophisticated, I guess, but kind of is there.
Yeah, I think a lot. Yeah, true. I mean, lots of games give you the option to not use some basic elements, but I feel like the scope and scale and the spectrum that's available with an Elden Ring is just like nothing else I've experienced. Where that power differential, the number of options on the table is just so vast.
Yeah.
I would say no argument there. Like Elden Ring, even more so than Hitman, just the amount of ways you can approach any given boss encounter, from like using faith, using magic, using summons, using only two-handed, using a shield, not using a shield. There's just so many different ways, and I think what a lot of people might be struggling with this DLC is it does feel like they made a effort to kind of nerf the effectiveness of certain like meta strategies. Like, to me, bleed is not as effective as it was in the base game, because of the fact that you don't have those lengthy punishment windows.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't build up bleed fast enough, because you'll do your attack and then you'll have to wait, because the boss will be twirling around for like 30 seconds.
I'm feeling that. I did get some really cool axes that have lightning on them, some dual axes, so I might swap to that.
I did want to ask about that. I haven't heard a lot in the conversation about like the stuff in the game, like the loot, weapons, stuff like that. Is there stuff that is like really cool? Like, do you get a gun now, or like what's the deal?
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
But there is the best quality of life update. Like, it's mad how much I use this, but the recent items tab. Oh my god!
So good.
Can't believe it took them this long, but
yeah, that's like I actually, because I did another playthrough just recently, and I've come because like of the base game, and like they weren't always map markers when shit happened, were they? And when we reviewed it,
NPCs were not on the map.
NPCs went on the map, and also like I remember when Starscourge, like Radahn fell. Like I was like, oh, there's a hole somewhere. Where the fuck is that hole? Right? What happened? and now it just says a spot has been marked on the map. I'm like, oh, cool. I wish I knew that before, because I was just running around like a dickhead, but no idea where to go.
Well, we figured it out. Game journalist, huh?
Yeah.
So bad.
That's right. So yeah, what was your question?
Just cool stuff in the game. Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool stuff. Yeah, there's 100 new weapons. And that falls into like 8 new weapon types. And yeah, some of them are really totally game changing as well. Like, there's like a hand-to-hand thing now.
Yeah,
like,
how is that one? Is that actually
I
effective?
love it.
Yeah,
nice to use, actually. Yeah, surprisingly nice.
There's like a running jump kick on the running R2 attack that stuns an enemy and like staggers them for a little. Then you can charge up like a palm blast.
Yeah,
and just go boom and then knock them like 50 feet away.
Doesn't
work on bosses, but it's still really cool.
Incredible armor pieces. Like, after beating the first boss, you get this incredible
giant head.
wolf, lion helmet thing.
I just wish it weren't so heavy. It's so heavy. It's like it puts me straight into heavy, into fat roll at that point.
It didn't put me into fat roll, but I think it reduces the efficacy of your flasks, so I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
wear
right.
it. So I was
That's
like,
right.
oh,
About
but it
that.
looks cool.
Well, you can put it with that new talisman that increases the efficacy of your flasks.
Yes.
There you go. Just look fantastic. So there is a lot of shit, and that's like that really opens. There's the weapon types that they've added are all very significant. They're not like, with the exception of like the thrusting shield, I feel like is a pretty, I don't know, this feels like a bit basic, but everything else is, you could definitely see yourself doing another playthrough with these weapons. It's a bit of a shame that they're only available on essentially New Game Plus runs, because you need to be able to basically get to the point where you can experience this DLC to pick up these weapons. One of the benefits of Elden Ring is that, there are a number of weapons available somewhere on the map that you can just kind of run to as a level 1 character, and then make that your playthrough stuff from the very beginning. That's not possible with these weapons. I do think that's a bit of a bummer, and it'd be great if they could drop some of these weapons on the, in the base game somewhere, but I doubt they'll do that. But yeah, a lot of shit that really opens up the buildcraft side of the game, and justifies further playthroughs, because it's all really good, for sure. Some cool legendary weapons as well. Some stuff that really shreds. Did you guys find this like holy staff that fires out those like really those discs really fast?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you like lift it above your head and it just fires out these like golden frisbees.
Oh wait, no, I found the spell.
Fucking shred. Okay, that.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but a
I fought the boss who uses that spell.
Correct. And those things absolutely shred. It is crazy how much damage they do. Holy shit. That got me through one of the tougher fights in the later game.
I found like a magma sword or something. It's like a great sword that like you lunge forward and then you do an extra attack and it does this big white explosion that just knocks enemies away.
Did you find the talisman that increases magma damage as well?
Oh yeah.
So there's that, and because I was like maining like the magma sword all the way through, like my base playthrough, I'm like, yeah, this works for me. So yeah, lots of stuff like that.
So many smithing stones as well.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So you just get to go hog
really-
wild upgrading stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
And they have little
Exactly.
forges now, and so they always used to have catacombs in the main game, and now they've got like a bunch of forges that I just think are really cool environments. Like they're more puzzly, platformy, I guess.
Yeah, I like them.
So you guys are smiling.
Throwing weapons now.
You guys like just keep smiling as you talk about this stuff. So the big question is this good enough to be a Game of the Year contender? Can an expansion be a Game of the Year contender? I feel like this is going to be a conversation towards the end of the year. Lucy, how you feeling?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, last year, if we're talking like just on the GameSpot scale, like Phantom Liberty was on our top 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
fair enough.
but I mean, yeah, dude, I don't know. I think you'll be hard pressed to find a game. I don't know. I think this kind of really cements. I haven't finished it yet, but like if it keeps going the way it is, like I think this probably cements Elden Ring is maybe my favorite game of all time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Very
Oh
fair.
shit! Wow.
Yeah, it's
Very fair.
hard to think of another game that has done what Elden Ring has done so well.
Excuse me. Please give Suicide Squad its due. Come on
gonna
now.
say,
Do not
I thought you were gonna
overlook.
say Breath
Super
of the
Monkey
Wild.
Ball just got a re-release. You watch it now.
That's right.
didn't-
There's that banana game.
We're
That's
recording
right.
this on Tuesday. Did you guys know that Beyond Good and Evil was out today?
Yes.
I did not. I was like, what the? Felt like that came out of nowhere. Anyway,
Not
yeah,
the sequel for people listening.
no,
Yeah, yeah.
sequel,
but I
no,
don't.
no.
I don't think anyone.
Shadow dropped.
I don't think anyone has found the narrative link to the sequel yet. But no, I absolutely think it's in contention for Game of the Year. Like,
Yeah.
there are so many things I'm excited for this year, but
I mean, look, to this point, the really big hitters have been Helldivers. There's Dragon's Dogma, which I think was quite a flawed experience, and I'd be very surprised if that were to snatch away like Game of the Year. Hades 2, but they said that's not coming out until 1.0 until next year. Animal Well, which is a
Maybe, yeah.
surprise contender, and that's done very well. Stellar Blade, I think, is a really great game, but I don't know. I think that's going to be plenty of people's Game of the Year, but do I think it would win the award for Game of the Year?
Not quite
so
there.
much.
what about like 1,000 Times Resist?
I was gonna say.
Oh, I've heard good things
Heard
about that.
really
I
good
haven't
things
played it,
about
but
it.
I've
I mean,
heard
story
fantastic
wise, I think that is absolutely one of the best games of the year. As a complete
Super.
package, I don't know if I would give it a nod for it.
Yeah, I think the other one is like Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth.
Balatro also.
Oh,
Balatro,
yeah.
yeah, for sure. That's definitely up there.
Yeah.
God, I feel like that was last year. Wasn't that last year? Was this year? Was it?
No.
I'm pretty sure it was this year.
Damn,
sure,
crazy. Yeah. Wow, yeah. But I really think, and I think with Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, I don't know. I think that game is unbelievably good. Like the scale of it, what they did with that video game is insane. But I also know that people were fatigued by it, its pacing and what have you. And I think, I don't know, I don't know how much affection people have for that one and how well it's aging over time. I feel it's getting the Horizon, like the Horizon effect, where there's like a lot of visual spectacle, a lot of stuff that gets packed in there. People feel like it's maybe a bit too much. But personally though, I just think it was incredible. I really, really loved that. And I personally would, so far my game of the year is absolutely Rebirth for sure.
Spoilers.
As much as I love this, just what they achieved with that was crazy. And I think coming back to it, like at a base level, like this is ultimately more Elden Ring, which is good, by the way. Don't get me wrong, I love it, absolutely love it. But I really would have liked to have seen From do some more, be a bit more playful and like see what else would like show us something we hadn't really experienced in the base game. Yeah, there's some new weapons and seals and all that sort of stuff, and that's cool. But like environment design is one example where there's really only one environment that stood out to me as being really like, whoa, shit, man, this is all new. You know what I mean? Like let's just say it's an environment that involves ascending quickly, right? If anyone, you'll know what I'm talking about. Where I'm like, damn, man, they really cooked with this environment. Everything else, I was like, all right, I feel like I've seen a lot of this before. I feel like with boss design, they're great bosses, but none of them really felt very different in terms of what they were like, in terms of what it was like to fight them. I think that was, for me, where this DLC wasn't that 10 out of 10 experience for me. It was a 9 out of 10, because that 10 would have been, could you find a new level with this? And I don't think they found a new level. They just added more stuff, which I loved. It was fantastic. It was great. But I really would have been interested to see them commit to that goal of like, let's give players something they couldn't experience in the base game. And I don't think that was something that they aimed for here. I don't know Mitch, I don't know how you feel about something like that.
I agree with you. I think I have a line in my review, and I went back and forth between a 9 and a 10 a lot. It took some talking with my editors to land on the 10. I had one who was like, seems like a 9. I had another was like, this seems pretty glowing for a 9. So ultimately, what I came around to was, yes, it doesn't do a ton of what you wouldn't it is what you would expect, right? It's more Elden Ring. It doesn't take a whole lot of risks in terms of its environmental design, though I would say there are a couple of environments that do a little bit of a different kind of thing. It's like, I don't think it's a spoiler just to say the name, but I think the Abyssal Woods I agree. Is an area that maybe not the most interesting or fun area to go through, but it is very different. That place scared the hell out of me.
But like that was such a perfect example, because I feel like that area, I got there and it gives you some warnings when you get in.
Oh,
and
God.
You're like, don't let it see you, whatever else, right? And this is minor spoiler territory, because you'll see when you get there. And I was really expecting, I don't know if I should spoil this stuff. It's hard. Okay, should we do a little? Nah, we're at the end of this block anyway. It's fine. TLDR, I was expecting more from that zone, given the kind of warnings that I got. And it was still cool, but it was way less cool than I was thinking it might have been.
I agree, and I've heard other people also share that sentiment, but I think that is an example of an area that they did try something new.
Sure.
I'll tell you what, I got to that part, you see all the messages on the ground that say like, don't let him see you, turn back now. And then you get to the part where Torrent drops you off and you try to get Torrent back, and it's like Torrent is too scared to come out.
Right. You're like, so am I, but I'm still here.
Prior to that, I had spent an hour or two fighting the final boss, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna take a break, I'm gonna go somewhere else that I haven't been before. I went to that area, and as soon as I couldn't get back on Torrent, I'm like, I guess I'm going back to fight the final boss, because I'm not doing this right now. The atmosphere of that area, I think, is oppressive, even if it ultimately doesn't live up to the initial vibe that it kind of sets.
Exactly. I agree with you completely. Yeah, totally.
But yeah, no, I going back to the 9 versus a 10, for me, this, when I thought about it, and I thought, what do I want from an Elden Ring DLC? This was absolutely it. I wanted harder bosses. I wanted fun weapons that I could, play around with. Maybe not change my entire build to focus on, but just have fun going around kicking enemies in the face and then palm striking them. And interesting new areas to explore that felt rewarding in the same way that the base game did. And because I couldn't imagine a better DLC, that was kind of why I ultimately decided to give it a 10.
Yeah, cool.
That's the final word. Mitchell, thanks, dude. Before we go, what are you cooking on now? Are you still working on Elden Ring guide stuff, or?
Yeah, still working on Elden Ring guide stuff. We got a bunch of videos going up, over the next couple weeks, I would imagine. There's not much else, I think, right now for me to kind of focus my attention on. So yeah, Elden Ring it is.
Well, thank you for your work, even as guide stuff. That is people who do guides are the unsung heroes in games media. So really, cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Don't be a stranger. We'll see you again.
Yeah,
anytime.
Definitely. Thanks, Mitch.
Thanks.
So I understand that you guys are lucky enough to have Factor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it. I'm jealous.
Yeah,
but I'd like to hear about what's the deal with it.
It's nice to have.
About Factor.
Number one, it's nice to have because it's just food. It's just showing up. It's chef prepared, dietitian approved meals. They show right up to your doorstep, and they're easy. They have these nice little packages. At a glance, you know what it is. You throw it in a microwave, you heat it up, 2 minutes, and you're good to go. But it's real, genuine food. So that makes a big difference because you don't feel like shit after eating it. It's
nice.
It's quality stuff. And I think the biggest thing is meal prep and stuff. You guys are busy grinding through Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree DLC expansion.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have time to think about, what are you going to make for lunch? What are you going to order? Blah, 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 blah. This, you just have it and it's ready to go.
Yeah. I think the thing for me is that I'm a very picky eater. Genuinely, my dad has trauma from when I was a kid because I used to eat 1 pea at a time, and if my food touched,
I want to kill you.
Yeah.
That would be so annoying.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I was a very picky eater when I was growing up, and I still have some elements of that. I'm much better, but with Factor, there's 35 different meals you can pick from, and a bunch of different add-ons, 60 different add-ons. And so you can kind of make it your own and actually get the stuff that you want. And I'm also becoming that person who's trying to eat better, and I have an app to make sure that I'm not eating too much crap. And it's really nice to see macros fill up and stuff. And I never thought I'd be the type of person to care about macros.
Sure.
But here I am.
Unless you're a StarCraft player or whatever. So yeah. That's an old reference.
I like
So this stuff just rocks up to your door. And then is it microwave? Is it the microwave, or do you use an oven, or what?
Yeah, you heat it up in the microwave.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Okay, cool. 2 minutes and you're good to go, and it's nice stuff, and it's healthy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yes.
It's not just junk.
Well,
Do
especially
they have
because
a little bit of junk? Do they have a little bit of junk? It's just in case
you
you
can
want
get a little
indulge.
wild. They have
got,
fun
some
add-ons
cheeky...
and stuff like that.
Okay.
But the add-ons also give you freedom and flexibility. If you're a pescatarian, you're keto, vegetarian, you just need a lot of protein. Whatever you need, you can customize it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds nice. If you're at all interested and you'd like to check it out for yourself, you can head to factormeals.com/FPS50 and use code FPS50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code FPS50 at factormeals.com/FPS50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Thank you, Factor, for supporting the podcast. We really appreciate it.
Jake, do you think you're gonna go and play Shadow of the Erd Tree? How's our chat with Mitch swayed you?
It was a good conversation. Yeah. Is it? Am I? Yeah. I want to say yeah, but by the time I do, some other crazy video game is probably going to come out.
But
it's inevitable.
That's partly not true, though.
Oh, not right now, right?
Because right now it is pretty quiet out there for a while.
There's a bunch of stuff coming out in August that I definitely wish listed, but nothing.
Like what? Concord? Black Myth Wukong Star Wars Outlaws is what I've got for August at this point that I can see.
I'm looking at let me look at my wish list.
There's
I'm thinking Lucy games though. Come on.
Okay, all right. If there's Lucy games, happy to hear it. Oh, I know what's coming out in August as a Lucy game. Crush House.
Crush
That's
House,
definitely on the
absolutely.
list. Yeah. That's like weird, messed up Sims.
What is
meets
Crush House?
dating game. Crush House is like, imagine like a dating reality TV show, like a house. So it's kind of like got some Sims elements going on. It's got some reality TV stuff happening,
wow.
and also it's got some like fucked up stuff going under the surface that they're kind of hinting at. You know,
Like murder?
So it's from Devolver. Maybe.
Cool.
I don't know. It's from Devolver Digital, and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I have from like Psychroma just came out. I haven't got that yet. My Museum Treasure Hunter came out today. Vampire Therapist is in a couple of weeks.
These all sound like you games.
Thank goodness you're here, August 1st.
That's the one.
That's my one.
You've been very excited.
This is like a Lucy game name generator. I feel like you're just popping in and they're just coming out. Like
Fields of Mystria, which is the farming sim, but it is the 90s anime aesthetic inspired one.
Okay. That sounds nice.
And then actually not until September for this one, but Phoenix Springs is another one that I'm very excited about. And Demon School. Okay, I got look. I've been working my way through the Steam Next Fests recently. So there's a lot of stuff for me coming out specifically. But yes, I agree. There is going to be
I'm
fallow
working on
couple
myself,
of months.
man. I'm working on myself. All right, that's
Good.
Skipping Elden Ring to beat the final boss that is getting my shit together. So
Nice.
That's admirable.
Respect. I wish that is a boss that I've long given up on. So that's good that you're still fighting that battle, man.
Yeah,
It's good.
I'm
It's
gonna
nice.
summon for that one.
yeah, phone a friend. Definitely.
But no,
But it was a good chat. It was a good chat with Mitch. Really enjoyed that. And yeah, I am really glad. I mean, it's bittersweet that this Elden Ring chapter is kind of over now because From have said their next game is not Elden Ring 2. The Miyazaki has said that he's working on something a little more abstract for his next thing, which I think is cool. I like the fact that they're mixing things up. But I
expected them to go right for it with how big Elden Ring was.
It's not really. I mean, yeah, I guess so. But they've always meandered. Like they've always had. They did. Dark Souls. I think that went straight into Dark Souls 2. But then after that was Bloodborne.
Yeah.
And then after that was 3, and then was Sekiro.
I think with Elden Ring though, it was so like overwhelming. Where I'm like, wow, what the fuck do you do after this?
Was
You
Dark
just
Souls-
make another one.
Yeah.
Was Dark
where do you
Souls
go?
2
I agree.
directed by Miyazaki? No, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
It wasn't.
So
But it was from Sting, and they obviously they also had Armored Core happening at the same time, last year as well. So I like the fact that they are always like zigzagging. You know what I mean? Like they're keeping us on our toes. I like that a lot. I think studios will get a bit stale if you always knew what's coming next. So yeah, I'm excited for whatever they do next, obviously.
The thing is that you said you're sad that this Elden Ring chapter has come to a close, where I think this is the point for me that it gets more exciting, because this is the point where my enjoyment of Elden Ring, obviously I get the joy from playing it, but I get to experience it in different ways, because this is the point where the streamers, the speedrunners, and the specialty runners start just like going to town
Breaking
on it.
the
Like
hell out of the game.
cannot wait to see what Distortion 2, Mitritz, Bushy, like Lil Aggie, like what they all start.
These little freaks, what they do with it, for sure.
I mean,
absolute freaks.
yeah, like God love him, Godspeed to him. I will be watching and not even attempting it myself.
Totally. Pff, no way, man. Mimic Tear all the way, baby. He's my best buddy.
When no one's got me, I know Mimic Tear's got me.
Mimic Tear's got me. Mimic Tear, become my blade once more. So, yeah.
Yeah, which feels like a good point to go to a user question, because it is a little. When I was reading through them, I did kind of think, oh, this would be fun to talk about within the context of From Software games. But this is if you email us contact@friendspersecond.com. This one's from Corey. Now it is a long question, so I'm gonna truncate it a little bit, Corey. I'm sorry. He says I did want to comment on something. Lately, I've been hearing a bunch of game reviewers across the board make comments in the realm of, this new addition to the franchise doesn't add anything, it's more of the same old, same old. Does every sequel need to make huge leaps and have massive additions to make the game noteworthy? And then little bit of commentary about Assassin's Creed and how that has been kind of going, especially because we talked about it last episode. So he says, my primary question, exactly how much needs to change between games of the same franchise mechanically for it to be quote-unquote progress? As a follow-up, if a game has developed a specific formula for gameplay, when do we start focusing on the story being told? I know that can be difficult for you all when it comes to spoilers, though. For me, a game not totally optimized is a little funky in the gameplay, or has extremely similar gameplay to the previous release, but has a compelling story. I'm in it to win it. On the flip, if the story is boring, full of logical holes, or just straight shit, doesn't matter how fluid the gameplay is, I'm tired of it after a few hours. I guess, yeah. I mean, interesting with FromSoft games, specifically in that context, we talk about Elden Ring and how, Ralph, you said that, like, this wasn't, like something different enough for it to be the 10 out of 10. Jelly Bean, I swear to God, if you turn off my PC, I'm going to lock you in my bedroom. But yeah, where it's like, From Software games, gameplay-wise, there have been just like this real evolution of the formula. Now I think Elden Ring is probably the best it has ever been. Maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's in a certain context.
Yeah.
Yeah, like within... So, and I think that's like with FromSoft stuff, like you've got to sort of choose your own, like choose your fighter almost, because you've got your like Dark Souls, which kind of sits in the middle of all of it as in terms of flexibility and options, but still quite closed circuit in terms of, like inputs and outputs and the options available to you, boss design, et cetera, et cetera. You get more narrow in focus and style when it comes to Bloodborne, but still have some flourishes with like, your trick weapons and whatever else. Then you got Sekiro, which is very much just like, no, this is how you will play this game. There's no other way to play it but this one weapon, this one style, parry, that's it. Everyone who beats Ishin in almost exactly the same way. There's no diversity around it. And then Elden Ring, you've got like all these different choices. So I feel like, yeah, there's across the spectrum of FromSoft games, there's that huge breadth of options, which I think is really fantastic. So people say like, FromSoft games, it's like, well, which one are you talking about? You know what I mean? Because there really is some huge differences between what they're aiming at.
Yeah, I think like you more kind of acutely draw the lineage in terms of Demons to Dark Souls through to Elden Ring.
Yes, definitely.
But there are some obviously core tenets that, like bonfires.
Sure.
I mean, like I would love the health recovery from Bloodborne to be in more games.
Well, there is what do you call it? Millennia's Great Rune. Just turn that bad boy on and you get it.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, that's right. But obviously you need to have a rune. It's a whole system.
It's a whole thing.
But yeah, like then there's also a new flask in Erdtree, like a physic flask that basically allows you to do like perfect blocks to reduce the stamina in like the stamina hit and also increase your like guard counter damage or whatever else. So again, another example of how Elden Ring just kind of brings more stuff in and like makes it even better. So, but yeah, like in answer to the question, I mean, how much do games need to change between the same franchise for it to be progress? I mean, I don't know. Like I don't know about the answer. There's like a strict answer to that question. I think, I don't know. I honestly, I think maybe years ago I might have had an answer to that sort of question. Like, oh, it needs to do this, it needs to do that. But now I'm just like, it's vibes. You know what I mean? Like, it's vibes.
That would be my answer, yeah.
Like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, right? It's on the same map, yes. It uses so many of the same systems, yes. But it has the building shit. And that alone is so transformative that I really believe that it just makes it an entirely new system. It opens up so much. And so you're talking about one system that is in there that I think revolutionizes that experience to a degree where, yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine going back and playing Breath of the Wild again because I feel like it's just, Tears of the Kingdom is so much better. You know what I mean? And I know people feel differently about that, but that's how I view it. And so that is just, one system that transforms an otherwise massive game. But then I'm sure you can have, I can't think of examples now, but games that have just done huge amounts of innovation across all of their systems or whatever else, but just hasn't really come together and hasn't really
Assassin's
worked.
Creed.
It feels like,
I would argue.
Yeah, you think that series hasn't really progressed?
No, as in like it's made such huge leaps that haven't necessarily, I don't think, paid off in a particular way. Like as in like in a satisfying way. I think Assassin's Creed, the way that those gameplay systems have changed and warped, like, if you get so far out of it that, like, one of the core pillars of Assassin's Creed was, like, stealth. And then you get to something like Valhalla where it's just like, well, you know, we're not really focusing on it anymore. And it's like, but they've added so many systems in. Like, they added all the RPG stuff, they added all the weapon stuff, they added, like, that kind of little mini base building stuff and conversation trees and everything. It's like,
sure,
that's a lot of progress. That's a lot of evolution. But
well,
do I think that's made those games noteworthy? No, I would say I enjoyed them less.
I think that is an example of something similar to FromSoft, though, right? Where the older Assassin's Creed games are a different game than the modern trilogy of Assassin's Creed games. They're pointed at totally different things with different goals. But I think within the new trilogy, you can look at the progress inherent in that, right? And the new trilogy became so much bigger over time that it just became absurd, ridiculous. They just added so much to it. And that was a perfect example of, well, more stuff is not progress, The combat also became much more actiony, in terms of how it's driven by abilities and more spectacle style rather than kind of more simple and grounded as it was in Origins. Even Origins was ability driven, but it really just felt like it went further and further with Valhalla, and I feel like it fell apart big time. So yeah, I agree with you within the context. But then again, I didn't really play much of the later Assassin's Creed games. And I know people really love stuff like Syndicate. And they're like, nah, man, Syndicate was sick.
Syndicate was sick.
Right?
Syndicate, I feel like, was a stepping stone one because it did try a lot of things, but kept ultimately to the core of what the original games were.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you look at something like... Sorry, Jake.
No, I was just agreeing as the Assassin's Creed weirdo. I'm like,
yeah. And then you look at something like Assassin's Creed Black Flag into Skull and Bones, right? Because that's kind of like a natural evolution of that. I know it's not for sure, whatever else. But clearly you can see how Skull and Bones is such a gigantic step backwards, even though it adds new systems like, online multiplayer, live service stuff. You have a special type of cannon that can heal ships now, blah, 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 blah. So... yeah, that is an example of like taking huge steps back by
by innovating with games.
I really think to answer the question for me, it's just kind of like it falls on like my how I am as a reviewer, a critic. For me, it's a case by case basis. It's literally go by feel. It's
Vibes.
Like did you have a good time? Why did you have a good time? Did you have a good time because it's the same, or you got more of that comfort food? Did you have a good time because it surprised you in ways you didn't expect? Some games do it great one way or the other way, and case by case basis for me, really.
Sure.
Thank you for your question. If you liked that, hang on, what's the best way of segueing there? I don't care. We're just gonna roll with it. We're gonna go into the live Q&A that we did as part of the GameOn Kansas stream. Here you go.
I think we're back. We are back. Hello. What's going on? Hello. Guys,
Hi.
fantastic to see you in this very different setup and setting. There's a clown behind me. He's right there. Hello and welcome.
I like his mouth.
Yeah, it's definitely wide open, no doubt about it. Great to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining. That feels weird to say that because thank you so much for making the time to join us. But obviously do appreciate it. But yeah, obviously I hang out with you guys once every 2 weeks. We just hung out in LA together. But for anyone who doesn't know who you are, who's tuning in for the first time, please, Lucy, who are you?
Oh, you sound like my therapist. Hi, I'm Lucy. I am a co-host of the Friends Per Second podcast with Ralph and Jake. I work a day job at GameSpot and at Giant Bomb, and you'll see me on, I don't know, kind of funny sometimes. I don't know, I just exist. I talk about video games on the internet, and I'm everywhere, unfortunately, like a bad smell. That's me.
Wow, way to really sell yourself, Luce. Thank you very much. Jace, can you top that? Jay, can you top that self-deprecating introduction?
She said I exist at one point. She's like, I exist, that's it. Yeah, pretty much same with me, I guess. I am Jake Baldino. I help run the Game Ranks YouTube channel. I do the Before You Buy videos and stuff like that. I also do my own channel, but my favorite thing is just hanging out with you guys.
Well, yes, thank you. Sorry, my face then was crazy because someone just made a $1,000 donation that was anonymously made. So thank you so much, whoever that was. Kind stranger, we appreciate you. That's really incredible. So thank you. But yeah, Jake, thank you. Well, both of you, thank you so much for being here. It's cool that we get to do this because this is actually the very first time that we've been together live.
That's so weird. It is. Oh my god.
It is because every single show we've ever done is pre-recorded. And this one is the first time that it's not. And I was saying that's good because we are thinking about doing more live stuff in the future, which we won't talk about now, but there are thoughts about things that we might do. So stay tuned for that. Wow, and we got average FPS pod user. Average FPS pod user, 420.69. God bless. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's the way to do it. Those are the numbers right there. We appreciate you. Thank you very much, FPS pod user. That's a great username, by the way, as well. So thank you. But yeah, like if anyone doesn't know, the three of us, we are the Friends Per Second podcast. We started, a couple of years ago now. This is our third year of podcasting, right?
Yeah.
That's so weird to think
is, isn't
about.
it? It's super weird. But it's been a really amazing experience that we've had. Obviously we've hung out. It's been fantastic. But also, I think we've been lucky enough to have really great guests over the years, both in person and dial-in. And we've just had really great conversations with developers. We've just been very fortunate to have had those sorts of times. So yes, Friends Per Second is kind of the favorite thing that I do at this point as well, to be honest with you, because hanging out with you guys, having those sorts of conversations, chatting with people who make games about what they're passionate about, I love that stuff. So
it's cool. It's cool. I feel like, and I've said this before, but like I do feel like you guys are smarter than me, so it challenges me.
It's a lie.
But also talking to developers has always been something like way out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So to get to speak to developers more and just like learn a little bit how the sausage is made, but also just like that there are people behind these things has been really interesting.
Definitely. Totally agree.
So I think for me as well, like all the stuff that I would do at work is typically like just me writing a script. And like you guys are the same, like me writing a script and talking essentially straight to the audience. And like I miss having conversations with people. So that's why I love having combos.
Yeah. We just got a donation of $150 from Ralph's second pet cassowary since we had a donation before from Ralph's pet cassowary. So I'm learning now that I have two cassowaries and they're both very generous. So I'm really glad about that. Do you know what a cassowary is, by the way?
I was about to ask.
Okay, so picture an emu, or as you people say it, emu, right?
But I don't say it. Don't put me
you don't say it that way. You say it correctly. Americans say it emu.
I say it like
okay. Yeah. But then picture it smaller than that and way angrier. That's a cassowary, okay?
Wait,
and they're probably they have like a thing at the top. They look like a dinosaur bird, They're serious business. You don't mess with them. So
wait, what kind of animal
is this the thing that's kind of like
a
a bit stupid?
Well, most birds aren't the smartest, but let's not judge. They're doing the best they can.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be nice.
All the birds watching this right now are like,
all the birds watching
I'm so
this
sorry.
Are upset. So by the way, just FYI, we're doing a live Q&A session now. So if you have questions, please throw them in the chat right now. The moderators are upstairs in the booth and they're going to be skimming the best questions off the top and they're going to be feeding them back to us and we're going to just be shooting the shit for a little while. But before we start, we'll let those questions build for a little bit. But yeah, that is what a cassowary is. And now I learned that I have two of them. Emus are also really scary. They're like taller than me. Have you guys ever seen an emu in person? Lucy, you might because you came to Australia.
Yeah, I did. No. So I thought cassowary was the same bird. No. I think it was it's white and black, the one I'm thinking of. Because I remember when I came to Australia and it was like 2011, my friend was at uni there and she said, oh, those birds are like really, really stupid. It wasn't that one.
I don't know if you can see the stream now, but there's a cassowary up on stream. Can you guys see the stream?
It's like a jerk.
I love the production desk has now. We're joined by special guest Cassowary, and the cassowary is like, what the fuck did you say about me before? Huh? That I'm not smart?
Sorry, I'm so sorry. But no, emus as well, though. I have seen it at a zoo before, and they're in the same...
is that a bird? Is that a bird too?
Yes.
An emu is definitely a bird.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know an emu was a bird? What did you think an emu was if not a bird? Tell us.
Let's go. Thank you for asking. I thought it was like a little brown guy, like a little fuzzy.
You're thinking of a wombat. I think you're thinking of a wombat.
Or a capybara, like a thing like that.
Oh, okay.
Capybara! Oh my god. An emu is not a capybara. No, it's not. Oh my god. I love it.
There is a really infamous video from the UK where a guy has he's just like walking an emu down the street, but he's like this big British lad, and he starts getting yelled at by this lad who's like, "What have you got there? What are you doing?" It's like it's and she or something. He says it really weirdly, and then he goes, "It's an emu." If you're British, you know that video.
Well, I would love to have seen that video. How did he get an emu to like UK? That's what I want to know. Did he smuggle it in his luggage or some shit? Like that would not have been easy.
Smuggled an egg.
An egg, yes. That could actually work. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, we have some weird animals here. If you ever come, Jake, you will see them for yourself. Yeah, so hopefully you'll make the trip.
I just feel threatened. I feel like they're all scary and murderous.
The kangaroos that will punch you, the spiders that will bite you. That is one question that we got. Did that come through on your mic, by the way? Did you guys hear Josh?
Yes.
That's the question. How many cassowaries could we take in a fight? Sam, sorry. How many could we take in a fight?
Literally none.
I reckon none, to be honest with you. I would actually not mess with them at all. They're very, very dangerous.
They're very dangerous, yeah.
I'm scrawny and I'm fearful. I would curl up into a ball.
I agree with you. I think it's the smart play when most animals approach you. We got a $15 donation from Ralph's Emu, by the way, and it is spelled EMOO. So they really went all in on the bit. So thank you for that. And we've got Cassowary's third pet, Ralph. Cassowary's third pet, Ralph, for $150. So it's no longer the cassowary is my pet, by the way. I am the cassowary's pet. So and I'm the third pet. So
wait, so how did the cassowary thing come about?
Just some person in chat. They're like, I'm Ralph's pet cassowary, and I'm discovering that I have pet cassowaries all over the place now. That's a pretty scary thing to learn about, as you know, on a live stream. So here you go. Got to watch yourself.
It'll be all right.
Got to watch yourself. Yeah. But yeah. So look, obviously we're just here. We're just jamming a bit. FYI, we might be joined by a special guest very soon. We're just navigating whether or not that person might be able to join. I won't say who yet because it might not happen, but we're seeing. And so,
but you're not going to believe it. Whoever it is,
don't hype it up that much.
Man. I'm just going to hype them up.
Hideo Kojima, welcome to the chat.
It's not.
Yeah, so we'll.
Imagine if it was though.
One day we're going to get Hideo Kojima. I'm not even joking about that, by the way. We're going to interview that man. It's going to happen. I don't care if we have to fly all the way to Tokyo and just like walk up to him with a microphone. And like that thing where Harrison Ford's just like, fuck off. And like, it'll be like that interview. And we say we interviewed Hideo Kojima. It'll be that, you know?
He's only going to want to talk about movies though.
So I know. He's really not that into talking about video games.
No.
But you know what? I'd be happy just to hand him a microphone and let him talk about Mad Max. Because he's clearly so passionate about Furiosa. He has done more to market that movie than anyone, than like all of the marketing campaign has combined. So,
more than Warner Brothers for sure.
Definitely. All right, so why don't we go to our first question up in the booth? Do you want to feed us one, and we'll get rolling with it, shall we?
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to put them on the chat screen now.
Oh, thank you.
As well, Ralph, but to kick us off, Behind the Voice says, what has been your fave episode of Friends Per Second?
Oh, good question. That's a great question. Favorite episode?
That's weird because like I can't think of them in terms of episodes. I think of them in terms of like who was the guest that we had.
Yes, I know what you mean.
I can't remember the bits, and I can't remember what else we talked about.
I think some of my favorite episodes are the ones where we don't have guests and we just chat. And I think we hear a lot of that from the chat as well, like from the feedback that they're like, yeah, it's nice when you have guests, but we like it when you guys are just jamming. And I really enjoy those. But I would say probably like my favorite guest that we've had, or the favorite time, was when we did Eric Williams for God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
That was
you would like the one that I wasn't there.
You had the Rona then, which is so disappointing. By the way, we had Sorta Freestyle, I think it might be. It cuts off, so I can't see the full name, but that was $200 donations, so thank you. But the Eric Williams interview, so he had just released God of War Ragnarok. That was the same year that Chris Judge won the award,
yes,
if I remember correctly. And he gave the speech, the 9-minute speech that Jeff Keighley was so adamant to make sure it didn't happen again that he went overboard the following year. And Please Wrap It Up was born, you know. But we got to chat with Eric the day after the Game Awards happened. We were at 9 o'clock in the morning, whatever, at Sony Santa Monica
Yeah, I was going to
Studios.
say, in hindsight, we should not have booked that for 9 o'clock the morning after the Game Awards.
Yes, it was a bad idea, but we went
Great
there.
interview.
Yeah, we went to the studio. Tam was there as well. And it was a fascinating chat because Tam has like a lot of background in fighting games, which we don't.
Yes.
And we learned that like a huge number of the people who designed the like action combat at Sony Santa Monica all got their start making fighting games. And so he was like jamming out with them, having this cool conversation. Obviously, we were talking about the fact that, you know, God of War had performed so well. Ragnarok was such an incredible finish. And we just got to meet this man who, you know, obviously Cory Barlog did such an incredible job with that first game. To follow up with that, it would be so hard to fill those shoes, but he seems to have just done it. So he did such an incredible job with it. And everyone who got up and said their thanks acknowledged his incredible contribution. And I don't know, it was just so nice to be able to chat with him. And it was a bit of a bookend for me because I also chatted with Cory Barlog the day the reviews for the original God of War came out. We did that car ride interview together. So that was really nice, kind of dovetailing of all that. I think that was probably my favorite episode that I've done. But what about you guys? I
feel like I have to say the Judas episode.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Because, like, we worked... Like, first of all, that was a huge opportunity for us. And it also was on the end of this trip that we got to do together. Like, we had a little day where we were all traveling together and we hung out at Jake's house for a bit. And then we were in Boston for a few days, got a couple of nice dinners and hung out. And then I think, you know, we got to play that game so early.
Totally.
And then just talk to Ken Levine for 90 minutes, which is nuts.
Yeah, that was a really fun trip. I agree. It was really good. Boston, it's all right.
That was an all-timer. Yeah, Boston's all right.
It's a nice town.
Definitely.
I like it. I like how the people talk there with the car. I love that shit. I get enough.
Well, okay, we want to go back eventually. Let's not insult the people.
They
in
own
Boston.
it, man. They own it. They own it. They love it as well. They're all about it. So,
I think my favorite episode was. I agree with you. Were the ones where we're just chatting. But also, I really liked the one we did with Remedy, Sam Lake, and Kyle Rowley. Because it was like right at the height of the excitement of Alan Wake 2, and I believe it had just released, and so they were feeling good, we were feeling good.
Yeah,
my cat was in it. My cat completely blocked the screen multiple times, and I don't know, memorable moment. I don't know. Those guys are like I'm a fanboy, so talking to them was really cool. That's probably the main one. And then anyone where it's just the three of us and we're like really tired, I always think it's kind of fun.
Maybe not to match each other's energy,
but
no, I agree, because it is like like, what are you guys doing? I'm wiping to Elden Ring bosses, you know what I mean? Like, I'm on hour 85 of this, you know, which we love, of course, but at the same time it's a lot. So thank you very much for that question, whoever it was. I don't know who that was, but thank you. We have one from Crispy Melon who asks, always wanted to ask the FPS group this question: what's a game or franchise that is loved and cherished, but you just can't get into it? For me personally, it's the Skate/Tony Hawk games. Sorry, Jake. Damn. Jake, the Jake call out right there.
It's fine. Whatever. I'm not mad.
Yeah.
It's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, right? Everybody, freedom of whatever, speech.
That's right. So I don't know, Luce, any thoughts on that one?
Stuff that people love that I just can't get into. It feels like fighting games. I can't get into them,
Sure.
but that's not because I don't like and respect them. Like, I could watch something like Evo. I personally just cannot play them. I am not built that way. We did an episode of a show last year where Tam taught me how to play Street Fighter, and I had a really good time. But like, if I messed up one combo, I was like, I don't care anymore. Stupid game, hate it. So that's the thing where it's like, I wish I could get into it. That, and I've said this before, Final Fantasy 14. I feel like I've just massively missed the boat on Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't get into it now.
It does require about 350 to 400 hours to catch up.
All that free time that I famously have.
Yeah. Exactly right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could maybe get it down to 300 if you're really focused, but it is a lot. The barrier to entry on that is a lot. However, they're just beginning like a new saga kind of thing. So, maybe you can just like ignore all of that. Like the Yakuza games, for example, is probably my one that I would call like, and not because, and again, so for example, I played Lost Judgment, didn't connect with Lost Judgment. But then I played like a Dragon Ishin, and I actually love that. So I feel like if I spent the time to play Yakuza properly, I would probably get into it. But it's the same issue that you have.
You played Ishin without playing any
Correct.
of the others?
Exactly
really?
Right. That's how messed up my journey is. Okay, this is how bad my journey is, right?
Joker behavior.
I played Lost Judgment 2 without playing 1, and then I played Ishin without playing any Yakuza games, and right now all the RGG fans in the chat are losing their mind, being like, how dare you say you don't like this franchise, you haven't played it properly. And I agree, I haven't played it properly, okay? But the point is, to get into the Yakuza games, that's like a big thing as well, because you need to have a good, probably 300 hours free to play through that series, right? And I want to.
And rest depends how much you play that minigame stuff.
Exactly. And so I was actually really excited about the launch of the new series with Ichiban. And I'm like, yeah, cool. This is great. It's a whole reset. But then they brought Kiryu back for the new game. And I'm like, oh, man, but that means I now need to go play through all of the other old ones to be able to hit the emotional highs that game delivers, because I know some of the stuff that happens there. You know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? So I'm disappointed.
I think they do a really good job in Infinite Wealth of kind of mythologizing Kiryu enough.
Yes.
And there are bits where you kind of get to go back and you get to see some of his great escapades. So it might not hit
Previously
as
on
hard. But
Yakuza.
yeah, basically. Sit down for 10 hours and we'll fill you in.
I do, yeah. Yeah. So that's mine.
Oh, man. Mine, I don't know what you would call this group, but esports hype games type things like Valorant cannot get into. Tried.
Right.
League of Legends, Dota 2 just cannot, like, ultimate turn off for me. I know I sound like such a bummer. I just don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Did you ever get it back in like your younger years when you were like 20 years old and you're like, yeah, man, I'm gonna become a League player now. That's gonna be my identity for the next few years.
No,
really?
the only thing close to that in that like feel is Counter-Strike. Like I was able to like play it and appreciate it, but the not newer, like they're not new, but yeah, I can't get into like the MOBAs or the esports shooters like Valorant. Can't do it. I don't know what it is.
Like Overwatch?
I think yeah, Overwatch is cool, but Overwatch is another one that like I can't like go all in on. I don't know what it is. I think it's what I don't care about competing. I've lost the competitive edge in video games now. Maybe it's because I just like my quiet story games, but yeah, I'm competitive more with myself than anyone else out there now with games.
I feel that. I also remember seeing a statistic of Valorant being like the average player is like 19 or 20 years old or whatever. And it's one of the few games that's really managed to crack that segment of like late teenagers into early 20s or whatever, when games are really struggling to do that. Versus like you have your Fortnite and you have like Roblox, you have Minecraft and Roblox when you're a kid, and then you have Fortnite when you're like in your early teens, and then you graduate to Valorant when you're like in your late teenage years or whatever, and then you age out of that shit and you're like, nah, man, I don't want to do that shit. I want to play my Sony games now. Just like slide through cracks in walls for like, 15 to 20 hours. So
Wait till 10 years from now, they come out with a new Valorant game and all the characters are older and they have kids and it's like a thoughtful walking simulator.
Right. Yeah, and you like can't, some of the roster, like the pick and ban roster, like some of them are blocked because they're out picking up their kids at that time. You can't pick them, they're busy. I like this. This is good, actually. This is a good idea. Thank you very much for that question. User Cefi asks, or Cefi or something, worst game you've played that made/makes you laugh. Worst game you've played that made/makes you laugh.
Oh, that's easy. It's a recent one, but it's Gollum. I think
I was gonna say, totally agree.
Yeah,
totally agree. It's
him. I don't know, man. I wasn't laughing when I was playing that game.
I was
sorry for your loss.
I was definitely laughing when all the bird shit was happening. When like Gollum was raising this pet bird or whatever, and he was like a father to this bird, and I'm like, why isn't Gollum eating the bird? That is what Gollum does to birds. He doesn't father them; he eats them. You know what I mean? So, yes.
I was out when you had to hatch it. You had to put him in like a hatching machine. Awful.
Yeah.
We
and you have to
have-
follow
It was
the
like a puzzle I
clues on
couldn't
the
figure out. I was like,
wall.
fuck this.
I have to make a quick shout out. We have Hideo Kojima's pet ibis just made a $150 donation, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Wow.
And Daz came in with an absolutely massive $500, so thank you, Daz. That is truly
Hey,
incredible.
thank you.
I would say that Redfall also falls into that category of so bad I was laughing at times. It was more of a, it was a bit sadder, I think.
I was
some
gonna
of the
say, I was
laughter.
chatting to you on Discord while you were playing this, and you were not laughing.
No,
at all,
There
mate.
were definitely, overall, it was sadness, but there were definitely times when the bugs were so egregious that I was laughing. Or like sometimes when I was just walking around the town and I wouldn't see anyone for like 5 minutes, and I was like firing my gun into the air to try and attract attention from vampires, and nothing was happening. Doing these ones, you know, and then still nothing, and I was like literally chuckling to myself at that point, being like, "Oh no, this is not good." So, yeah, I don't know. Do you guys remember that Michael Jackson Moonwalker game?
Oh,
Never
dude.
played it, but I'm
Yeah,
aware of
remember
it.
that one? That was cool. I would not describe that as bad, but definitely looking back and seeing the gameplay now, it makes me laugh because like a special move was basically like getting all of the zombies near you to dance, and then after they finish their dance, they drop dead. It's the coolest shit ever.
Yeah.
I love it.
It was so good.
It was
so
the best.
satisfying
And
to pull off.
the way he flung that hat, by the way, was so satisfying because it like came back to you and shit. If anyone hasn't played the Michael Jackson Moonwalker game, go and emulate it or whatever. Is it called Moonwalker or was it called something else? I think it was called Moonwalker.
I think it was
I
called
think it
Michael
was
Jackson's
Moonwalker.
Moonwalker.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And that was a game, man. That was a serious game. So,
I only played the arcade one, and I think there are differences.
okay. They're always, with those
Probably.
ports. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Aladdin, like the Aladdin. What is it? What are the two Aladdin versions that people fight
Yeah,
about?
yeah, they're the
Is it
ones, of
Sega
course,
Genesis and-
from
yeah.
Westwood. Yeah, of course. There's the SNES one versus the Mega Drive or the Genesis. Yeah, yeah. E. Townsend asks, if you could pick one video game character to be your best friend, who would it be?
Garrus
Lucy.
Carrion.
That is a great choice. That is an excellent choice.
Would it be Garrus? No, it would be Garrus. Come on.
Mm.
But also
He'd
I'm
have
in
your
love
back.
with him, so that could be one of those.
I don't know. I think he'd set up good boundaries though. He'd
don't think he
politely but
would.
firmly. You're like, I don't care what
I don't know.
boundaries.
Did you play
I
his
don't
fem
care
check?
what
He does
boundaries.
not.
Well, it depends on how he feels, I suppose. But if he's feeling it,
Yeah.
sure. But if he wasn't feeling it, I think he would be able to politely and gently let you down in a way that would still protect your friendship because he's just that good a dude.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Well, also he is the same voice actor as the map guy in The Division. So he's the guy.
I
Yeah.
remember that. That's
I
really
do
deep.
love.
My
I do love having
soothing-
him whispering
soothing
those
voice.
sweet nothings in my
That's
ear.
a deep cut. I agree
Your
with
next
you.
objective is tagged on the map, and I'm like, ooh, yes, thank you,
Oh,
friend.
thank you.
Yep.
No, I would go Garrus because also like he can have fun. He tells jokes, but also I love a man with intellect, and he's like calibrating stuff all the time.
True.
Sorry to interrupt, Ralph.
Yes.
We have a special guest.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, joining the chat right now, fingers crossed, if the production all goes smoothly, is none other than Alanah Pearce. Yay!
Hey!
Hello, Alanah. How's it going?
How's
Welcome.
everyone doing?
Welcome. Alanah has been fighting the ultimate endgame boss, that is
Truly.
LA traffic. And so
Truly.
Alanah's scheduled appearance here is a little bit we've rolled with it a bit. We're really glad that you're here. So thank you so much for making the time. Hey, Ben.
I'm good. Congratulations on already raising $18,000.
We're very
That's
happy.
Amazing. you
Yeah, we're
guys.
very excited.
yeah.
It's still a big day ahead. A lot of chances to, give generously. So thank you to everyone who has done that so far. But we've been, super stoked with how it's been going. And really glad to have you here with us. What's been happening? What's happening in the world of Alanah?
It's real hot here.
Is it really?
Like I said, drove through a lot of LA traffic. My hair's a mess. If you can't
Hair looks
tell,
great.
because I've been helping a friend move today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, otherwise, making a video game, playing video games, hanging out with my dog. Nothing too exciting.
What are you
The
playing?
usual.
What are you playing lately?
I just replayed Hellblade so I could play Hellblade 2, and I'm planning to finish the third part of the new Alan Wake DLC tonight, which is incredible. And then I'm going to restart Elden Ring on Sunday.
I made the mistake of restarting an Elden Ring playthrough. It was such a bad idea. It was such a bad idea.
Was it? Shouldn't I?
No, well,
Wait,
I mean, I have other things
idea?
I should be doing is my point. And I just like, it's so unbelievably good that I'm just like now obsessed with it all over again. It's so disappointing. It's so bad.
I'm ready to be in that space.
I'm absolutely
part of why I
so
wanted to come
deep
on
in that
today is I
space.
have a close family member who has cancer, and it's terminal, and he really only has a couple months to live, and it's the worst. It's awful. It's terrible.
Sure.
And so part of me is like, let Elden Ring be my solace for the next several months while my whole family is dealing with this. I'm going to have to go home to Australia soon to be with my family. And I was like, I'll drag the whole family through this Elden Ring rabbit hole. Everybody's going to watch me play this game while we grieve, and it's going to be great.
Sure.
But yeah, a super important cause. I'm super glad to see you guys doing it.
Yeah. Well, no, thank you so much for being here. And we are doing a Q&A session right now where right off the top, we've got chat going. And they're firing off. We've got some moderators making sure we get the good stuff. And the question we're asking right now is, and I'll let you think on it for a second while Jake answers, if you could be best friends with one video game character, who would it be? So Jake, what do you got?
Oh, it was best friends, not romance. Okay.
I went from
answer.
I made a jump.
That's right.
Alanah, my answer was Garrus, and I was like, yeah, I would like to be friends with him, but a friend I'm in love with.
I always associate
Nice.
Garrus with like some fuckability. So
But he's high on both, and that's what makes him such a great character. It's friendship and
exactly.
So you know what I mean? So yeah.
Speaking of that, my answer, I'm like the predictable broken record, but since I'm replaying it right now, Solid Snake.
Yeah.
Specifically because I'm replaying them slowly, and with Metal Gear Solid 1, he starts off as gruff soldier. I'm no hero. I fight for no one, And as that facade breaks, he has like a quote for everything, and he always has like really nice insight, and like I feel like I could use that. I think what I'm saying is I just need like a father figure, because I also really like Joel before the end of the world.
Yeah.
I think he seems like a really, really great guy who's got it all figured out.
He does.
And I would like to hang out with him.
Mm.
So yeah, just Sam Fisher. I mean, if I was his daughter, I wouldn't have gotten hit by that car. No way. I would have stuck
We're
around
asking
it.
for best
Sorry, am I
friend,
doing
not a
Splinter
dad.
Cell lore
That's
now?
right. We've got Lucy being like, here's who I want to bang. And then we've got Jake who's like, here's who I want as my dad. So, Alanah, what do you got next? Where are you going to take this to not answer the question about
I was
friendship?
gonna ask, what do you think like it'd be like to kiss Garrus? Because I kind of feel like it would be like kissing a crab.
I agree. It'd be painful.
You know?
It would hurt.
I think it's probably pretty hard.
He has like a puppet mouth, kind of, yeah.
I
Well,
feel
'cause
like
he's
he's
kind of
got some
got, like-
fishy vibes.
No, it's a bird, isn't it? Like I thought
It's a
the inspiration
bird.
for the for the Tyrians were birds. That's
Would
I think that's like
doesn't that definitely mean it would be hard?
Yeah.
Beaky?
yeah.
It would. I don't think it would be
I don't know.
pleasant.
He's kind of got little. Does he have teeth? Garrus.
I don't think we've seen his teeth, no.
No, I don't
think he
think
just-
he
Garrus
has.
Vicarian mouth. Oh.
Oh,
God,
here we
okay.
go. That's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, let's
He
go.
has
Make
a
sure you're not
tongue.
sharing a screen on that
Google.com.
one. Let's just leave
He
that
has
one.
a tongue.
He does have a tongue.
Oh, he has really really sharp pointy teeth.
Okay.
Oh no!
You're
I
right.
accidentally ended up on. Oh, okay, no.
Oh, no.
I think, oh no, how did that happen? Oh, what a surprise. There's dirty smut about
Vor.
Garrus on the internet
Oh, I
somewhere. That's
accidentally clicked
wild.
my bookmarks again. Oh.
Homepage again, is it?
Alanah, what do you got? What are your best buddies? A video game character.
It's a tough one. I feel like I want to cheat and say like a dog. Like I want to be
Yeah.
like is it Juno in Jet Force Gemini?
Oh,
no,
yeah,
I do
okay.
think Vela in Jet Force Gemini. I was a pretty big fan. Oh my god, Jade, Beyond Good and Evil. I feel like would be a really cool best friend. But if in real life my best friend is a dog, why can't I just pick a dog in a video game? And I think it's Juno in Jet Force Gemini. Is that the name of the Jet Force Gemini
I
dog?
don't remember. But that's a good pick,
Double-check
though. I like that one.
Because he's also got a jetpack, which is like the only thing that could make a dog
Cool as
cool.
hell.
That's cool. I agree with
You
that.
know what I mean?
Like Cosmo
Let me
from
confirm his name.
Marvel. Yeah.
It's Lupus. Wow. It's an
Lupus.
interesting name.
That's very different, isn't
Yeah,
it?
his name's Lupus. But he's a little kitty.
I reckon, personally, I'm going Commander Zavala from Destiny. I reckon
Okay.
he would be He would have my back. We'd have good chats. I'd learn much from him, and you know, and he would also be a father figure to me as well, Jake. So I'm really feeling you on the same. I'm feeling on the same wavelength as you there.
Yeah, we all need that.
So yeah, I feel like that was it. So that's a good one. Thank you very much for that question.
Like, would you lighten up? Would you like have a glass of wine with him at the end of the night?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I would always be in constant awe of him. So I feel like if we were actually best friends, that would be an incredible achievement to have earned the genuine friendship of Zavala, where he feels like, you know, he wants to hang out with you. Like, imagine how privileged you'd feel.
I feel like
nothing would top that for me. Nothing. So
I feel like you're trying to use him for cool vibes.
You
feels
what?
Inauthentic.
Yeah.
You're using him for cool
Excuse
vibes.
me. Do you have any idea how much respect I have for that man? I would never use him. Okay, so
I just feel like you're putting him on a pedestal.
That's what we do to fake father figures. Okay, we put them on pedestals until they disappoint us. That's how it works. Okay.
Until we
This is a JD Dr. Cox vibe.
This is a Dr. Phil
Scrubs.
episode right here, okay? Right here, right now. It's happening live. You're like my therapist. I'm like, we're just getting started. K Diddy asks, what is a game that left the biggest emotional impact on you? Oh, I am going to be able to answer that really quickly. I'm going to say Outer Wilds. I just think that game, the ending of that game was, I don't know if I cried, but I definitely have never felt that same level of just explosive emotion that I can't actually process at any point in time. And I still think about that feeling every day. No other game has made me feel that way since. It's just incredible. And as we always say when we talk about Outer Wilds, can't say anything about it. Have to play it for yourself. Can't spoil it, blah, blah, blah. But if you know, you know. Outer Wilds is where it's at. So nothing has like touched me in that same way.
Disco Elysium.
Ooh, okay.
Definitely had me feeling, I don't know, I would go from crying to laughing to feeling existential dread within the space of 30 minutes. So in terms of games that have elicited an emotional reaction from me, I would have to say Disco Elysium is the one. Or like What Remains of Edith Finch also really got me. I, as a person, have had a lot of death in my family, and a lot of it actually from cancer. And so when I was playing Edith Finch, because also a lot of members of my family died before I was like 18, that was a very powerful game for me. I think the bit with the bathtub will never leave me. That was horrifying. And yeah, but it's a great game.
Yeah. Alanah, what do you got?
I would say To the Moon.
Oh, okay.
My jock answer is Gears of War 2. But
hell yeah,
it doesn't feel like the cultured pick. So To the Moon, which if you haven't played it, I think came out maybe 2010, 2011. It's an indie game. I believe it's now like it's been ported to mobile and stuff. It's pretty simple, but you're basically trying to reconstruct a dying man's memories to like help him fulfill his final wish. And it's a really sweet, kind of tense, stressful story that I just really enjoyed. Pacing wise is super impressive, and it's a fun game too.
Yeah. Jake.
So I'm not really like a real human. I kind of only cry over like space wizards and like spandex superheroes.
And Batman.
So
and Batman will get you every time.
Yeah. Yeah, Batman will get me every time. I think the last one recently, Spider-Man 2018, for hitting a lot of those Spider-Man moments, the moments I've felt in comic book pages that I've never really quite felt came to life in movies. The games managed to do that, and I think a good example is when. Can I spoil Spider-Man 2018?
Yeah. It's like, come on, man. We're in 2024 now. Wow, someone died in a Spider-Man game, you know?
Yeah, but it's Aunt May. That's like a bigger deal.
Yeah, but like, come on.
And they did it really well. And like, I really gave a shit. And even though it was this Aunt May I was introduced to in this universe before, I felt like so much weight behind that, and it really worked. Couple that with like, you know, in like the newer Spider-Man movies when they kill Marissa Tomei, Aunt May, it doesn't really hit as hard. And so like as someone who always roots for video games, it's nice to see a video game really crush those emotional beats. You know, it just made me really happy.
I got surprisingly emotional during Final Fantasy VII Remake during the Barrett storyline with Dyne. Did anyone else get up to this? He's like, dine.
Yeah,
I'm just like, oh man, you're getting me. I felt it. I really did. I reckon that was incredible. Mark Harris asks, what is the collective noun for cassowary? That's a good one. Ooh. I don't know. Because we've got like Parliament of Owls and Murder of Crows. So what is the collective noun for cassowary?
One of my formative childhood memories was I went camping with my family and a cassowary blocked me and my sister in the like porta potty bathroom, and so we couldn't leave. And my whole family was panicked because they're scary.
Totally,
they're very pretty, but they have like it's just an emu with a horn.
Yes,
we got trapped in a bathroom. I would have been like, I don't know, 7, and the whole family was like, "What? What are we supposed to do about this giant bird?" And we just kind of had to wait for it to leave.
Yep, I think it's like they're
like a couple of cassowaries.
They're like a Jurassic Park of cassowaries. Like if you see more than one of them together, then you're definitely getting that vibe of like you're in some serious trouble. Yeah, like they could definitely open the door handle. Like that is where we're talking.
For sure they could.
What's that again?
They look very...
They definitely could.
Like distinguished. Like what about like a distinction of cassowaries?
Ooh,
like
see you're
like
classing
that.
it up now, Luce. You're bringing it up a
No,
level.
because I called them stupid earlier.
We're gonna have to get him back on to see if he like accepts your... All right, what was it again? A distinction of cassowaries. I reckon that is so good that that'll get adopted by bird people and they'll start running with it. So yeah, that's good. Ermine Violinist says, if you could combine any 2 games to make a new one, which 2 games and what parts of them? That is interesting, actually. Can we get a time check, by the way? How are we doing for time? We got 7 minutes on this one? Yeah. Okay, great. So we'll do this one and we'll do one more. You can combine any 2 games. So Jake's answer is going to be this thing with a gun. That's going to be the answer on all the Jake's things, right? 100%.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk with a gun, they already did it. It's called Rollerdrome, okay? Right? So
great. Yeah.
Luce, what do you think?
I've got it.
Okay.
The gameplay of Peggle.
Here we go.
With the ability from any iOS game to play it on my mobile phone.
Okay.
You can't play Peggle on iOS unless you want to play the terrible Peggle Blast, like microtransaction bullshit one.
Oh, you mean like an honest to goodness? Peggle. Okay, you want original.
Can't play Peggle one. So that's my.
You can emulate that though. You know that, right? You know that. You can just emulate Peggle on your phone.
How?
Just through the magic of emulation.
iOS now.
Hey, Goose. This is a real bird themed stream right now because now Goose has just donated $120. So thank you, Goose. Jake, other than combining things with guns, what other games would you like to combine?
Someone in the chat said Outer Wilds with a gun. Which is
yes, perfect. Exactly right.
That's why I didn't like it. No, for me, probably. So the style, the tone of the original Max Payne, that noir graphic novel storytelling thing, you don't really see that in a lot of games. So I would say put that with like an Animal Crossing or a farming sim. I think that'd be kind of fun. A gritty noir farming sim.
Yeah.
There is one coming out that Blumhouse is publishing where it's a farming sim.
Oh,
but
that's
you have
right.
to solve a murder.
They got you, man. They got your number. They got you down cold.
Okay, I take it back. That's the quickest gone from like
2, but with
wish
guns.
to wish fulfillment.
Yep.
Fable 2 with guns.
Halo 2 with guns. Perfect. AKA Halo 2. What do you got, Alanah?
Hear me out.
All right.
Metroid and Castlevania. Nobody's ever done it
Whoa,
before.
hang on, slow down. That sounds wild.
I think it sort of already exists. Like, I feel like Tunic is Dark Souls Zelda, and it's the perfect video game. We peaked. We made the perfect game. We don't need to make any more games. I mean, I think a lot of people have attempted to do Dark Souls Zelda, and every time I'm very happy, to be honest. I think that's the ideal game. Trying to think of like any other really specific outliers. I mean, I'm obsessed with Act 1 of Inscription.
Oh,
like,
yeah, okay.
I could never get enough of that, or Casey's mod. It's like one of my favorite things to ever exist, and I wish it never ran out. So to back up Lucy's answer, just put that on mobile. I'll ruin my life.
Yeah.
I did also always want, the only battle royale I really wanted was Halo.
Oh, yeah, that's a bummer, isn't it?
Halo battle royale.
I really believe that could have been a thing. People like dogpile the idea, and it's like, okay, maybe it would have sucked, but maybe it would have been actually really cool. So I'm kind of disappointed that they.
I feel like it would have been like it's one of the best franchises to do it. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh well.
It's time for a Gears of War 1.
Gears of War what? Battle Royale.
A Gears of War Battle Royale. 100 chunky men drop onto that.
all that beef dropping onto the thing. Yeah, that's right. I've always wanted to have like Breath of the Wild combined with like survival crafting stuff. Like, Tears of the Kingdom, if they were to go all in on the survival aspect of that, where you actually need to like build houses and shit and whatever else, like a more permanent aspect to the survival stuff, I think would be cool. I think that'd be the greatest game ever made. I love it.
Just like a hardcore mode.
It's too much to do.
I mean, yeah, it would be almost like a living game. Like, I don't know, like, yeah, that's so ambitious, so huge, but I've always dreamed of a game like that, where if you just like do a survival game, because usually survival games kind of suck with their objectives, or not always, but like a lot of the time, they're very sandboxy. Yeah, and then like you've got Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which have that vibe of being survival-esque, but they really nail the objective side of things. So if you can kind of like smoosh them together, which is kind of what Enshrouded was looking to do early this year, but Enshrouded has a lot of problems for various reasons. It's good though, but yeah, it's not quite where I want it. So anyway,
that explains now why you were into that. Yeah.
Style. Oh, sorry. I might cut you off because my audio's my headphones broke, so you're through speakers, but very quiet, so there's no echo.
Right.
It's not ideal.
What were you saying, Alanah?
I was saying Bethesda Softworks style RPG, but Pokemon, where I could like choose to be a gym leader if I wanted, like actually make evil choices, like kind of if Arceus was actually a Bethesda game.
I like it. Yeah, right. Okay, cool. All right. We got time for one more. Maybe one more after this. Spiffy the dog asks, what is the greatest game ever made and why is it Monkey Island 2 LeChuck's Revenge? I mean, yeah, you're right. We peaked. I mean, Alanah says it was Tunic, but this was actually like, 30 years before that. So,
the genuine answer is actually Portal. I think Portal is the best game ever made.
Ooh, okay.
Best game of all time.
Gaben, if you're watching and you agree, please donate $1 million to the stream into. That's right, Gaben. You might win. You might win a PC, Gaben. So if you're there, man, please dig deep. Yeah. So then, Maiden Muse asks, "What is your favorite piece of gaming-related trivia fun fact that you can remember? /fun fact that you can remember." Ooh, that's an interesting one to finish on. That's a tricky one.
I'm currently obsessed with Myth because I played it for the first time.
Okay.
Myst, sorry. I played it for the first time, and there's a Riven remake coming out this week, which is coming to Steam, and I'm super excited about it because I never played any of those games. The original Myst, the two brothers who designed that game had no previous game experience. They just wanted to make something that was akin to, the mystery and wonder of a kid's adventure book, really. And they designed the game, and at the time when it came out, obviously it was made in '93, very, very old hardware. Some things took like 48 hours to render, like tons of technical challenges. But a thing about it that I think is really cool is that one of their approaches for playtesting was a D&D game. So they playtested that game by giving it to people as a D&D campaign. So you could say, I do this, and they would go, okay, this makes this sound, or whatever. They tested out most of the puzzles, or all of the puzzles for that game, the whole campaign, via a D&D game rather than through a game itself, which I think is like such a good idea because you'll get an idea of what people would organically try to do, even if they're not in the video game space. So basically, full puzzle game, considered one of the hardest that came out at the time. It was the best-selling PC game for, I think, 52 weeks in a row or something like that. The highest-selling PC game until The Sims came out, I believe.
Until The Sims came out.
Yeah, crazy stats.
That's right, I remember that.
It was play-tested using D&D.
Crazy. I never would have guessed that. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Jake, you got anything?
Off the top of my head, this is hard. But for me, I always just the whole entire saga of the making of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning.
Oh yeah.
Was just such a weird rabbit hole. Like the more you read into like the Wikipedia description of that, it's just crazy. Obviously, people working on the game gave it their best shot and actually made a pretty cool game. But like the people at the top and like Kurt Schilling and the fact that they got like wrapped up with taxpayer money and the Rhode Island government, it's
Didn't
so
they, like,
bizarre.
destroy the whole state,
It's such
sort
a
of?
bizarre thing.
Totally.
Like ruined the Rhode Island economy.
I think they're okay now, but they're very small.
I
It's
feel
a
like it
very
did for
small
a while.
state.
It like really messed things up.
The
Lucy,
governor had like went on record talking about sales numbers for the game, and like basically like the Kingdom. You know how like games have like the publishers come out and they're like, oh, it performed below expectations. The governor of Rhode Island basically did that for this game. He's like, well, it didn't sell enough units. It only moved 1.5. We were forecasting 3. I was like, you're the governor of Rhode Island. Why are you forecasting sales from a video game?
oh damn,
So
man.
funny.
Lucy, you anything?
From The Sims. The Sims was created because Will Wright's house burnt down, and he'd already made like Sim Ant and everything, and he was talking about like, oh, what are basically the Maslow's hierarchy of needs that people need in order to be happy. So that's kind of like the core idea from The Sims. And this one's from 8-Bit Boniello, who has a great like TikTok, which posts loads of gaming like trivia things, and this one came out the other day for Pride. Is that originally like The Sims were always supposed to be pansexual, and then it kind of went back and forth with the publisher to see if they wouldn't be, and basically this programmer just came on and he had an outdated version of the new rules, and so when he was like fixing bugs and whatever for the E3 build, he made the Sims gay, and in the E3 presentation, two female Sims made
That's
out.
right.
And
yes.
that's why it was
And
literally just because the programmer had some old information, and then and like The Sims now is one of the most inclusive games ever, and it's awesome, and it has been since 1999.
That's true. Yeah.
And it was all
Me
because of
personally,
outdated
a
info.
little known fact that escapes most people. You really have to look for it. But Metal Gear Solid 5, it was actually made by Hideo Kojima. You really have to look. You really have to look because it's not obvious, like as you play through it. But if you really pay attention to it, you will actually see his name appear at one point, or maybe more than one. I can't quite remember, but throughout Metal Gear Solid 5. So yeah, that's my little unknown thing about.
I don't
believe
It's surprising how many games he's made. Actually,
might not know this.
No, that's right. Correct. It's surprising how many games he's made. So really should pay attention to his career. But you guys, thank you so much for joining us.
We're just gonna
it was really awesome. And
with you
please
shortly,
tell
so
us where we
just
can
give me
find
2
you.
seconds.
I mean, obviously we find the Friends Per Second podcast crew right here on the Skill Up channel, and as usual. But Lucy, where you at?
Everywhere I am Lucy James Games. Got that branding
Excellent.
everywhere. But
Cool.
if you want bad jokes and pictures of my cats, then follow me, I guess.
Yeah, hell yeah. Peanuts
Mhm.
and jelly.
Shout
And
to
jelly.
the homie.
Peanut and jelly. That's right. Yep. Jake.
You can find me on social media and YouTube at Jake Baldino. Game ranks during the day, Friends Per Second sometimes, and yeah.
Cool. Awesome. And Alanah, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for braving the traffic.
Sorry if it was brief. Glad I
That's
made
all right.
it though.
Yes.
I'm on the internet at Charizard. It's my name in the middle of Charizard, and everybody play To the Moon if you haven't. It's
Everyone
a
play
really
what?
great game. To the Moon.
Oh yeah, sure. That's a nice
Give it a
shout.
try.
It doesn't get much attention, that one, so that's good. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. We are going to cut to a commercial now, if I'm not mistaken. I am mistaken because I don't know what's next, but I have people who do know what they're talking about here. So thank you very much, guys. We'll say goodbye to you now. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Love you.
Thanks for
We'll see
doing
you
this.
again soon. All the best. Bye bye. Thank
See
you.
you guys.
What's this, Luce? What's so funny, Lucy? We're talking about serious things, okay? What's so funny?
Nothing.
Talking about Manscaped,
Yes.
okay? This is the lead into the ad. We're already in, okay?
We're in
We're
it.
talking
We're
about
in it.
Manscaped.
It's the summer, boys. What's going on
It's
with
the
the
summer,
boys?
and let me tell you, spoiler alert, I have, you might not believe this, balls. And
Whoa!
yeah, can I say that?
Shit.
But during the
Are you allowed to
summer,
say that on YouTube?
during
Come on,
the
man.
summer, it's awful to have them, especially when you're hairy down there. So with Manscaped, you can really take care of your personal grooming downstairs. It helps a
true.
lot.
They do have everything you need to take care down there. Their Lawnmower 3.0 Plus, the 4.0 Pro, and the 5.0 Ultra. I have used all of these over the years because I've been using Manscaped for a while now. 5.0 Ultra, obviously, it's the best one. That's what I rock with lately. And yeah, it's just a really fantastic, very reliable, water-resistant device. You can use, it charges via USB. It's got like a nice little docking thing. It has like this skin-safe technology that, basically makes it much safer to be operating down there. You get a really close shave without feeling like it's dangerous when you're doing so. It's just a really nice tool to use. And that's not all though, because they also have other stuff. They have like a electric shaver, which I believe is called their handyman.
I use that. That's great.
Which I like,
Yeah.
and I take that with me when I'm traveling. When I've got to do like the quick and dirty, like bzzz, that works great. And they also have a beard trimmer called the hedge trimmer. But I do not have enough facial hair to use that device.
I
But I
do.
hear it's excellent.
It's excellent.
Okay.
I mean, I barely do, but I use that thing all the time, and it's great. It has because I like keeping mine kind of lengthy, so it has like all the right adjustable elements to get it to get it good.
Yeah. So it's good. Plus, when you order it, you get some there's like a performance pack you can get that comes with like boxer shorts and some like deodorant stuff for down there, and like a little travel bag thing, and like it's good stuff. So it's a nice little package to get for yourself or a gift for someone else.
Good gift, yeah.
It's a really good gift. So long as they're okay to receive it. I don't know, maybe you buy this person and they're like, what are you doing, man? I'm not really into that. You're like,
not getting it for your grandma.
I was gonna say Merry Christmas, boss.
You're not getting it for your grandma, but maybe your granddad if he's a good sport.
Does it keep growing?
So-
when does it stop? I don't know.
I mean,
I
your
don't know
hair
that
and
we need to
nails
know the answer to that.
never stop growing after you die. So
There you go.
You know.
So then maybe your granddad needs it more than anyone.
yeah.
And if that is the case, then you might want to check out the special offer that we've got going right now. It's 20% off plus free shipping with our unique code FRIENDS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code FRIENDS at manscaped.com for the best your boys have ever looked, or your granddad's boys. Trust Manscaped.
Boys are back in town. Boys are back in town. We've been through a lot of user questions in this episode. If you have any more for us that we'll read out on the next episode, contact@friendspersecond.com. Thank you as always to everyone who ever submits a question. It's very nice, and sometimes people just send nice notes and they don't want the questions read out, and it's very sweet.
Thank you for the kind words.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Right, boys, what have we been playing?
What have
Elden Ring. Nothing. I've been playing Elden Ring.
That's
It's
it?
bad. I mean, I honestly have not even started playing Destiny yet because I had so much work backed up out of Summer Games Fest. Plus, I had COVID, and then I just went full goblin mode on Elden Ring so hard, and I was so sucked into it. I was like, I'm just gonna just fucking wring this dry, get it out of my system, and then ready to start Destiny. And so now I'm at a point now where I'm ready to start Destiny. So I'm excited to do that because the Final Shape apparently is sick. I'm going to offer the world's latest Destiny 2 Final Shape review. It's going to be out in 4 months after the DLC releases, but I don't care. It'll be fun. But yeah, honestly, I've not been playing anything other than Elden Ring. It just consumed my life for the last little while. I think I put about, 70 or so hours into it over the last little while. So yeah, man, it's been real. It's been very real. And then just Marvel Snap, as always. It's my dirty indulgence.
How is Marvel?
Shameful.
Any changes in Marvel Snap? Anything going
Really,
on?
it's the same old. I would even describe it as, dare I say, a bit stale at this point. That's okay. I'm just kind of it's all right. Like they're adding some bullshit in there. Like one thing they added was like this league mode thing where you can buy a booster that stops you from like losing points while you're playing or whatever. Which I'm like, damn, man. That when I saw that, I'm like, that's lame. Holy shit! It made me respect the game a lot less.
Yeah.
I get it. They're trying to make their money. It's a free to play game, whatever. But that's just really slimy. And
Well, because also they lost their publisher.
There was something about that. No, but they were okay though.
They were
I know there
fine.
was something where like their publisher something happened.
Oh, they're getting
but
out
they
of
were all
games.
good.
That was it.
Yes, exactly right. That was what it is. But they're okay, and so yeah. But look, Marvel Snap is still a great game, but that move was like really disappointing when I saw that come on.
That's fine.
And that's all I got, man. That's all I've been playing. It's been just Elden Ring.
Damn. Jake, what have you been playing?
I've been like I said earlier, I've been playing this game where I'm working on myself. And so part of that is I played this game called Metal Gear Solid. Have you guys ever heard of this?
Whoa, no, tell us.
Familiar.
Bizarre. It's so weird. It's like barely a game. It's a lot of the game is centered around like the characters calling each other with these little windows. And that's where like half the game goes down. Like that's where all the big character moments, that's where all the reveals happen. Then
Sounds like a Sony game. Boring. Is there any gameplay in this?
I don't know how long I could get that bit going. I'm sorry. Yeah,
They all have weird names.
They all have really weird names. Also,
Vulcan Raven is, by the way, the sickest name ever.
Vulcan Raven's cool
Revolver,
as hell, man.
Vulcan
Revolver
Raven.
Ocelot.
Ocelot. That's amazing.
Decoy Octopus.
Decoy Octopus. Psycho Mantis.
Psycho Mantis.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
God. I want to like make
what
up my
names?
own like weird one.
Yeah,
like,
there probably would be some
there must be-
generator
hang on.
out there.
Metal Gear Solid.
Name generator.
Yeah, hang on. So, name generator. Okay. So,
like angry buffalo.
Yeah, that works.
Iron
actually.
Iron Armadillo.
Yeah.
Iron
Yep.
Jaguar. Brass Seal. These aren't very good.
Seal.
Guilty.
Brass Seal. I actually can see Kojima going with that for some reason. That really works.
I mean, like this one. Guilty Mink.
That's a little sexy.
Guilty
You'll be ashamed.
Minx, I
You'll be
think, is a
ashamed of your
different.
words and deeds with a guilty mink. Rage
Yep.
Dingo.
That's sick.
That's the Australian that's the Australian Metal Gear Solid, of course. That's the George Miller crossover.
An Iron Butterfly, which I think is actually
Iron Butterfly,
Yeah.
like Iron Butterfly.
Iron.
So like two irons.
Oh no, I
and then
started-
Butterfly. Oh, okay. I was gonna say Iron Butterfly, which I think, yeah, actually, the second iron makes it Kojima.
Ghost
so.
Lemur. Anyway.
I love this. Kojima just like posted a sick picture of himself on Twitter the other day, being like, "Look how hot I am." I'm like, "Damn, you are hot,
Yeah,
man.
good
Look
for
at you.
you.
You're,
You
you're
see,
fucking
he was
crushing
at
it."
the that movie premiere last night. He met like Mia Goth.
Yeah, the new
Yeah, saw
X
that.
horror movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
What was? Yeah.
So you're
yeah,
playing Metal Gear Solid again.
Yeah, I replayed it. It's been a minute. It's a game I replay often, but I replayed it like slowly this time, like a normal person. Like every night, I just like did a little. I also played it on hard, which is something I haven't done, I think, since I was a teenager. And I realized that every time I went back and replayed it, I would just play it on easy or normal and just like cruise through it. Like, yeah, cool. I love this game. But playing it on hard kind of like it like shook me a little bit more and like made me like really drill down and just pay attention to the game more than I normally would. And that made a hell of a difference. It's still a very simple game, but I love the way it's constructed. I love how every puzzle works. You know, everything about the game just feels like this fun little legend. It's like, oh, you have to go back to do this. Then did you find that over there? Or like, oh, you never found that? Like, I love that stuff. Like, and I love a game that's built like that, like weird little Rubik's Cube. I also love that, like, towards the end of the game, it seems like they were running out of steam a little bit. Like, the whole time you're in Rex's lair, like, there's one guard in the entire hangar, just on the top floor, like, just minding his own business. And it's is this a limitation? Like, because
I don't know. I feel like it's because you're sort of hurtling towards a conclusion at that point, and you're like that you just want to see what's going on. Like, you've already fought enough guards up to that point, so I feel like I could see that being a deliberate choice to like just let you get there.
But I like that there's just one guy. It just feels very weird.
He's the guy though, you know.
Guarding the most important military secret known to man.
Yeah,
it's this one dude. So
it's just I'm still I want to make like a long video about this because I've made videos before where I like replay the game and talk. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time now, so I've made videos where I've replayed it and then like farted out my thoughts, like this is the first time I'm like, I really want to like sit down and really drill into what really makes me and this game tick, you know? So that's something I'm gonna try and work on slowly over time and not rush it and not just get it out because I need a video out.
Sure.
But I just love the damn game so much. Every moment, every character bit, trying to get Amanda to watch me play it, and she walks in when I get to Meryl in the bathroom and she doesn't have her pants on. And Snake's like, "You got a cute butt." And Amanda's like, "What game is this?" And I'm like, no, I can explain. This is the greatest game ever made. No, I swear. It just replaying it makes me happy. Also, in terms of like being burnt out and stuff for a while now, kind of regrouping with a game I love really helps. And I always say that to people too who don't even do this as a job, but people who are just burnt out on games. Download or replay or dig out that old game you love, play through it. That helps kind of like, you know, reorient your gaming perspectives, your gaming taste.
I agree.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I had a bit of that this week with Elden Ring, where I like, you know, did another playthrough, and I was like, damn, I wasn't going to make a video on like the base game again. I was just playing it because I wanted to, and I was like, yeah, this feels really good just to play something for fun that I love, and really, definitely, I found it reset. Yeah, you're right. It reset some things for me as well. So I was really glad I did that.
Well, you've got another game that you've been playing listed.
Oh yeah, so Steam Next Fest. I didn't get to check out as much as I wanted to. I did the thing where I download a million games, and then I didn't really get around to too many of them. But I did get to I Am Your Beast, which is the newest from Strange Scaffold, I believe is the name, and they did El Paso Elsewhere, a game I really loved. So this is a very small kind of sandboxy arena first-person shooter, almost like a Hotline Miami thing, where you have to jump in, kill that guy, throw something at that guy, get that guy, because you could die very quickly. And it's got a really cool graphical style and vibe and presentation, which they always do a really great job with. But graphically and visually, it almost kind of reminds me of 13. Remember 13, the first-person shooter, the cel-shaded one? It's kind of got that type of thing. The guns look a little cooler. You're like outside in the snow. You're just like a secret agent guy. But it's truncated with, and it's interesting, like also just playing Metal Gear. Every level, they're quick levels, they're bite-sized things, but every level is truncated with like really good dialogue where it's just bold text popping up on screen and great voice acting. And it's kind of like a commander, and you're playing as like the soldier, and they're trying to get him back for one last job, and then he's like, you know what, fuck this. Like it's got like a little bit of that cool like movie action hero trope thing, but with just such good style. I think they just really have a good eye for this type of stuff. So the main game comes out, I think, at the end of the summer. I'd say keep an eye on it. It's fun. It's zippy. It's quick, and it's got gore. It's got really good hit feedback with like cool little icons and stuff. You can kind of stealth. You can get through a couple of guys before you're noticed, and then it's just like insanity. It's cool. I'm curious to see how the whole thing comes together and how long it is. But just something unique, something a little different. Caught my eye, and I'm glad I checked it out real quick.
Hell yeah. I think the demo's still up. I saw Zalavia tweet that like Steam emailed them and said, your demo was really popular, leave it up.
Yeah, they were going to take it down. And yeah, that's cool. We love to see it.
Yeah. I've been playing a lot. I've been, again, gaming. So
damn.
Yeah, in terms of Steam Next Fest demos, what I liked, I have downloaded a bunch that I still haven't got through. But I think I shouted out Thank Goodness You're Here last time. I will be... It's my game, man. I'm so excited for that one. But a Ranger, I played a little bit of, which is how do you describe it? I'm going on their Steam page to see how they describe it. It's one of those ones where it's like you're on a board with tiles, and when you move, the entire row of tiles moves, and then like it goes horizontally and vertically. And then it's kind of like a puzzle that you have to solve. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, damn.
Okay.
Like
but it's a grid-based puzzle game.
Grid-based puzzle game. I'm trying to think. A unique interconnected grid that spans the entire world. So basically, it's you move and then the entire grid moves across. It's really interesting. It's really quirky. It's really charming. I didn't play the demo because I was like, I'm in on this already. So I wanted to shout out Ranger. It was at Day of the Devs. But I really liked that one. I played the Alters demo last night.
Oh, how was that?
Yeah, what's the deal?
I really enjoyed it. I'm intrigued to see how it all comes together. So basically, I didn't know what this game was. It is essentially sliding doors, base building, resource gathering, base management as a game.
Except everyone that's working there is a clone of you.
Yes. So the way that
it's just clones of clones.
So it's the kind of sci-fi that I love. In that, it is evil corporation, and then there's like one guy crash lands on a planet, and there's a mysterious secret, and he has to, you work with the corporation but he's also trying to get out of it. And I think the way that they introduce the character of Yan, and I want to shout out Alex Jordan here. So I've known Alex for a very long time, since way back when he was in the Telltale Game of Thrones game, and now he's in like cyberpunk, and he is the main guy in this. First of all, that man is British. He is English as they come.
Okay.
I thought I had to Google to check that it was him. Like, his American accent is so good.
His American accent, right?
Wow.
Okay.
But he not only plays the character
Is
of
it as good as
Yan-
Jake's Australian accent? Because we've heard that.
That's
It's
that-
pretty top
no,
tier.
no.
No.
But so not only does he play Yan, but he plays all the different versions of Yan, because there are
That's fun.
So there's in your base there's this quantum computer, and with this substance called rapidium, which you go out and find in this world this alien planet that you've crash landed on, you can make clones of yourself. But again, it's the sliding doors moment where you go back to branching paths. So originally you've got Yan, and you can see all the key moments in his life so far. And then you go back and like you need a technician at one point because your base is kind of broken and you are stuck in this area and there's no one else around, no one else is alive. So you can go to this point in his life where he either decides to stay at home or leave home. And the Yan that you know left home. You clone the Yan that stayed at home. And it turns out he became a really good technician. And there are all these different versions of them, apparently. Like, I watched the trailer. In terms of, like, base building and stuff, there are a lot of, like, really nice quality of life things where you could, like, easily move your base around. I didn't find it too difficult to be grabbing resources. They did things like they put fast travel in straight away. And so, they were, like, for a 2-hour demo, I felt like I got to see quite a lot of it. The thing that I really am excited to see is when you have all the Yans, because you have to have conversations with them, and you have to cook meals for them and hang out and stuff. I'm really interested to see how that all works together, and what the overall story is. I think the one thing that I didn't like so much was movement around the world. Like, there's radiation in there, so you have to like find cover or get back to your base and stuff. I just didn't find the movement itself like didn't feel very weighty. Like, it was a bit floaty. Okay. I don't know. It was like, the world is beautiful, but maybe it's a little too hand-holdy when it comes to finding stuff at the very, very beginning. And also, like, with one of those games where it's so many different concepts in one, I'm really interested to see how it all comes together, if it does truly become this really nice experience where everything just works. I think it, like I said, such a cool concept. It's the kind of sci-fi that I really, really love. Not really one for resource management or base building and stuff, but if it's held together by a tight story, like, there's already, like, when you're trying to call the corporation, you don't know who's on the other end of the phone, and like the phone is crackling, and they only really talk to you when they know you found rapidium, and like, I don't know, it's got a lot of cool stuff. It's ticking a lot of boxes for me right now.
Okay, it looked really awesome.
Yeah.
The reveal looked great. I was really into the concept of it, and yeah, I'm really excited that it's that it's shaping up well.
So did that one. I finished This Bed We Made at the weekend, which is a game that came out last year that completely passed me by. But if you're a nosy bitch like me, it's a great game. So you play.
Why is this?
You play as a maid in a posh hotel in the 1950s. So you have to go around and you're cleaning rooms, but then there is this weird thing that's happening with some of the guests, and you can pick through their stuff and read letters and basically put together.
This is my worst nightmare.
I think this is cool.
It's really cool.
I love this.
And so, like, the character that you play as, called Sophie, she's a bit of a wallflower. Like, you know, some of the other people that she works with are kind of bitchy to her. And then she finds, you know, that, like, there's this one weird guy in the hotel, and getting to the bottom of why he's so weird. And then there are these other guests that get involved. And there's kind of, like, other things where things that you do get picked up on. Like, so you can accidentally get people fired if you don't clean up a piece of graffiti or something. That kind of plays back.
That's interesting.
If you clean rooms really, really well, like really thoroughly, that gets referenced later. And so it says at the beginning of the game, like, every action you take or don't take is remembered in some way. And so it's a noir mystery. I think it doesn't overstay its welcome. I finished it in like 2.5 hours. I really enjoyed it. I did it in like 2 sittings, I think. there's a character who you befriend called Beth. There's Beth and I think Andrew is the other one. And you can decide whether to like make Beth your companion character or Andrew. I went with Beth because she's basically Thingy from Mad Men. Like she runs the joint. She knows like Joan from Mad Men.
Oh yeah,
she has that kind of vibe about her. And I thought it was like really well written. I like the puzzles. Not difficult, like very little friction. And I think when you are working with a game that is so story driven and you do just want to find out who done it, I really, really enjoyed that. And so I really do recommend that one.
How much does this take advantage of, like, the style looks really cool? Like, does it really go all in on, like, the 50s nostalgia and, like, atmosphere and stuff?
Like, music and stuff, too. Not as much as... Actually, that's quite a nice segue, because the other game I've been playing, I got Fallen Aces.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, right.
So,
Your New Blood joint.
Yeah, again, if you're talking about, like, really embracing the style and the music and... some of the words in there, like I don't know, like goons, and not that kind of gooning, but like, you know, all the phrases that like Italian mobsters from, you know, like the movies and pulp novels and whatever would speak. Like that's definitely in Fallen Aces. My one thing with Fallen Aces though is it does make me motion sick.
Oh damn.
So it's like
that's a bummer.
First person.
It does look a bit narrow field of view. It does look a bit narrow.
Even when I increased it, it's just one of those games where it's like Doom, where it's just too quick for me, and my aged brain can't.
Sure.
I get it.
Played
Makes sense.
Still Wakes the Deep. I'm an hour into that
Oh
one.
yeah, did you finish that one?
No, I only just started it.
Is it really scary?
No. At least the first hour is not. I was actually quite disappointed because everyone was like, I don't know. I really enjoy Everybody Goes to the Rapture. I thought that was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I really think the setting of this one is really, really well done. I love the fact how they've lent into how authentic it sounds in terms of like people just speaking with such a strong Scottish accent and just like referencing things. And I spoke about this on the Bombcast, but it was like, I definitely said it on here as well. It's like I have an issue with games where they're not good at exposition. And I think this is really smartly done. Like, it's, you know, you don't have a character talking to himself going, oh, my wife's gonna leave me. It's the game opens with him reading a letter from his wife, and you can just basically read between the lines that, like, she's at the end of a tether. And then he brings it up to his friend character, like this character who's his friend. And then, like, you know, there's the pencil pusher who is the manager, and he's pushing everyone, like, they're not getting bonuses this year, and you find that out from an incidental piece of environmental storytelling. And it's like, I find it very immersive. But I'm at the point now where whatever the creature is, I don't know what it is, I haven't seen it. I've been chased for the first time, and maybe it's like my home setup system, like the sound wasn't doing it for me. I think I'm going to try it with headphones on, because I couldn't really get a grip of where he was chasing me from. And it's not like Alien Isolation, for example, where you can just kind of like run around the ship anywhere. It feels way more guided, or at least in this opening one. Like, I'm following the yellow. There's a lot of like really cool stuff with color, actually, to kind of guide you around. But I'm going to stick with it. I think it's really interesting. And I'm a big fan of John Carpenter's The Thing, and apparently that's what this pulls from quite a lot. So it's got a good opening. I haven't been scared yet.
Okay.
I'm into it.
I
want to
be.
play it. Damn.
Yeah.
And my final game. I'm sorry, I played so much.
No.
Go on, please.
But I mean, Jake, you and I can talk about this one because you played it too. Tales of the Shire.
Yes.
Oh,
the
I wanna hear
embargo-
about this.
Crossing, but you're a hobbit.
Yeah. Yeah, the Hobbit.
You're kind of a hobbit?
Well, no, you are a Hobbit.
No, but like you're it's
I get it,
kind
I get
of
it, I
Animal
get it.
Crossing. Like, it's just like
Oh,
a
yeah.
little cozy game where you are a hobbit and you do what hobbits do, which is kind of just hang out, dude.
But no pipe weed.
No pipe weed, no alcohol. So you can go to the Green Dragon, but
You
you
can
can't
go to the
have
pub.
a pint.
Yeah.
That is not great.
It's a rating
Disappointed.
thing. I get
It is
it.
a rating thing, of course. It's like when we interviewed the Star Wars people, and they're like, "There's no gambling. You can play cards and
Definitely
bet
no
on and
gambling.
watch horse races, but there's no gambling." It's like, okay, whatever you say, guys. Whatever you say.
No, but it's cute. I like.
It is. Is it good? Is it okay? Is it any? Okay, so obviously I'm not expecting it to be as polished as Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
And like as feature rich or whatever else, but like, is it anything other than, hey, you like Animal Crossing? Do it with some hobbits. Like, is it doing anything beyond that, or is it just like that's the
more
play?
people focused? There's more, there's dialogue. There's so for me, I think the demo, seeing some of the game, like I haven't really seen it all come together yet. There's exactly a lot of little things you can do. You can customize your character, your gender, your clothing, whenever you want. You can customize outside of your house. You can customize the inside of your home. And you're mostly going around talking to people. You can fish. You can cook. Cooking, I saw a lot of. So you're planting stuff in your garden. You're taking those ingredients, and then you're cooking inside. And there's no like fail state. Like the vegetables you're growing outside can't go rotten. When you're cooking the food, you can't like burn the food. So I'm like, it's one of these games. It's very...
The scouring of the Shire does not take place. No. That's not the culmination of the end.
Actually, no, because this happens between the Hobbit and
all right.
But I mean, there are characters, like...
They reference stuff.
They reference stuff, like Gandalf's going to show up, but there's no Nazgul or anything coming in. I asked them what the core conflict of the game was, and they said it's that basically the rest of Hobbiton doesn't recognize the village as a Hobbit village, so they're just trying to, like...
Which is crazy.
Build it up to the point where it's
water
legit.
and it's, like, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay.
But I think, to your point, it's like, I want to see it all come together. I don't think half an hour is, like, the amount of time that you need with a farming sim. Like, and also, like, when we were playing it, it was like, a lot of the conversations and a lot of the relationship stuff wasn't in that build. So there were a couple of specific ones where you'd cook for some characters and, you kind of see that improve. But I don't know, in terms of nailing the tone of what of Hobbiton, like, definitely. Like, I like, and I said this again, like, frictionless. Sometimes you just kind of want to escape into a world and not have to deal with end of the world
Wipe into
shit.
a boss.
Yeah.
A million times. You just want to cook some potatoes. Potatoes.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. But no, I'm so excited to see how it comes together.
It's got a good like visual style to it. Like it still looks like it's coming along. Like it's still a work in progress game. But like the colors, the detail, all the homes built into the hills and stuff like that. The architecture, and also there is a sprint button. But when you sprint, they don't go any faster. They just skip.
They
just start skipping down the road.
That's actually pretty cool.
I think it's really
fuck
sweet.
yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like, because did you see there was a TikTok trend a little bit ago where it was like, do you remember how to skip? Like, when was the last time you skipped?
Oh, like
to be honest,
yesterday.
a lot.
You skip a lot? You have kids. Yeah, you have kids. Yeah. So skipping.
So, yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I think I still am more into the idea than the game because I haven't seen enough of the game yet. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So I've been playing a lot.
Cool.
Too much.
Good on you.
Been gaming.
Proper gamer. Elden Ring plus all that. Damn, man.
I know.
Respect.
But it's why I haven't like finished Elden Ring. But but also I think Steam Next Fest, there are so many cool things and like there's a bunch of stuff I haven't even gotten around to.
I always love Next Fest. I just didn't have time this time around because of everything going on. But
yeah,
that's it's always a really good thing worth checking out. So
right, should we talk about stuff that's not games?
Let's do it.
Right.
Actually, I'll start.
I was going to say, what you got?
Well, you actually mentioned something previously that it's a nice segue. John Carpenter is just about to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame thing.
Yeah.
And to my great shame, I had never seen The Thing.
Oh,
I know. Yeah.
I can't pretend that I'm like a long time Thing fan. I only saw it for the first time a couple of years ago, but
yeah, right. So then I bought the 4K Blu-ray because it's out there now, and it's a really good one from what I can tell. I don't know, but I like the quality of it. That movie, I'm not a big horror guy either, right? I'm not into horror. Not that I like dislike it. It's just that I don't go toward it.
Yeah.
I would say I probably actively avoid it in a way. Again, it's not because I dislike it, but if you were to say to me, like, I don't think I've seen a single Saw movie, right? Because it just doesn't interest me. The body horror stuff doesn't interest me. Like Alien, sure, absolutely. Like I like that, and so that's why this makes a lot of sense to me. But again, I'm not a horror person, right?
Have you seen Event Horizon?
No,
I think Mate. That's what you were saying.
Mate. Wow,
no, I
think
you like Event Horizon.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, The Thing is extremely good.
Yeah.
It holds up really well.
Yep.
I'm not offering anything insightful here other than to say that I was surprised at how... So first of all, I had no idea what this movie was about.
Oh,
absolutely zero idea, because all I knew was the PS2 game, like box art cover, and the man in the snowsuit with the shining face or whatever. So I had no idea what this was. Literally opening with that scene where they're trying to shoot the dog. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And just that, seeing that mystery slowly build was really satisfying. I was actually surprisingly impressed by the quality of the visual effects stuff that goes down. Like, it's clearly silly, but it actually is just enough where it kind of works. It doesn't look too goofy, too low grade. It just hits the right level where you know you're looking at weird puppets and weird sculptures and lots of just fake blood, but it still is enough that it works. But the best part of the movie is just the cast. Like, it's this sick cast of characters. Every one of them is so interesting in their own way.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, Kurt Russell is kind of the least interesting character in the whole thing, because he's just kind of like...
He's just cool.
He's just a cool
Great
dude.
hair.
Whereas great hair and but everyone else has this kind of thing going on where they bring something to the table. It almost felt like a bit of a 12 Angry Men kind of thing, because it's all just dudes in this station, right?
Yeah.
And they've all got a unique personality that they deliver so succinctly with so few lines of dialogue.
Keith David is like, he crushes in it.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. I didn't even realize. I was like, damn, he's in this. I had no idea.
Yeah.
There's quite a few actors that I recognize, and because they went on to have bigger careers or whatever. But yeah, man, it was just a great film, and I watched it and just loved every second of it. And I mean, the ending, I don't know, like, I feel like the ending was a bit... I won't spoil it if anyone hasn't seen it, but I feel like the ending was a little bit... not much. There could have been a bit more to that, but it was about the journey to that, and I was really satisfied with it, and I really loved it. And so now I'm waiting for that PS2 remaster of the Thing game that Night Dive are working on now. Is it Night Dive, right?
Yes.
They announced that. Yeah, and so now I'll play that, because I've not played that before, and I've got the grounding,
Loved that game, and I think it actually does some of the ideas of the movie, and it translates it pretty well into a PS2 game.
Sure.
Never played it. I'll wait for the remaster.
Yeah, so I really had a good time with that. And if you haven't watched the Thing yet, which everyone has, I'm the last person on the planet who hasn't watched it, then you can watch it.
Hell yeah.
It's available on 4K Blu-ray, and the quality is fantastic.
Hell yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
Should I go next? Because I have a horror movie I watched. I watched The First Omen. This is a movie I would never ever watch, essentially. Like a legacy sequel bullshit type thing, like, oh, it's another weird prequel movie to an old horror movie that was good. But I had seen somebody on social media post a couple of stills, a couple of screenshots of just some of the cinematography in this movie, and my pretentious ass was like, I must watch this. So it is a prequel to The Omen, the 70s horror classic, which I absolutely love. I saw it too young of an age, and it totally ruined me. This is a movie that you can watch. You don't really need to know anything about The Omen. And it's about a young woman, an American woman, who is a nun, and she goes to a convent in Italy in the, I guess, like the 70s or so, to, pursue her career. I don't know what nuns do. Is that a career? I don't no disrespect.
It's not.
I don't think you'd call it a career.
It's not a career. I guess it's like it's a
vocation.
You have like a lifestyle.
Yeah, like just
to pursue her life as a nun.
Yes.
The pursuit. Her life as a nun.
So she gets there, and weird stuff starts happening, but it is not really a horror movie. It's more just like a mood thing than like straight up horror. Ralph Ineson is in it, and he's doing his thing. He's
that
great.
Voice.
Oh, that voice is perfect for this.
Is he in Nosferatu, the upcoming Eggers?
Is he?
I don't know. He tweeted it, he tweeted out the trailer.
Maybe he's just like, that's
he's
my
gonna
boy.
be Galactus.
Yeah, that's right.
Hell yeah, man.
Voice, man. Oh yeah.
So this movie is just gorgeous. It's really, really, really pretty to look at. It does a lot of really creative things. The little bits of horror, a lot of it is really well done. It's about like tension building more than just jump scares. There's a little bit here and there, but it does at the end kind of stumble over itself to tie in a way that does feel kind of awkward. It kind of like all of a sudden gets a little silly, but the whole adventure I really, really liked.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Cool.
don't know. It's like I've seen a few people say that it's really good. It didn't come on my radar at all.
Yeah,
maybe
it's
I'll give it
it's a vibe. It's cool. I was like trapped in a hotel room for like a day with nothing to do, so I just like turned the lights off and watched that.
Did you guys see this Pope's Exorcist movie with Russell
Is that
Crowe?
the Russell Crowe one? No,
Is
I did not see that.
the second movie he's been in 2 years where he's
Yeah, where
played
he's
some
like,
kind of
no, I think
priest?
this was the first one.
He's
and
in
then there was
another
one where he
exorcism
played.
movie.
Yeah.
Right. It was so bad I had to turn it off. It was fucking terrible. It was so bad.
Yeah,
it was truly awful.
Oh,
Hello,
cat reveal.
Peanuts.
She's been an absolute pain in the
She's
ass down there. She
not
keeps
in the mood
threatening
for
to
that.
turn off my PC, and I tried to give her a little cuddle, and now she's lying on my flip flops. So
Nice.
she's living life.
There you go.
But no, I will not see the Pope's Exorcist. I'm afraid. Sorry,
No,
Russell
don't. Just
Crowe.
avoid.
I'm more about the young Pope. That shit was good. You guys watch
Sure.
that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I watched like little bits of it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but yeah, that was nice.
What's
Cool.
young Pope?
Jude Law, hot Pope.
Jude Law is the Pope.
Oh, I missed that one too.
Hot young Pope, man.
Let's not get carried away. The hot
Yeah,
Pope. That
dangerous.
feels like a.
Hot Pope.
I mean, no, we can have hot
Can we
priest.
say that?
We can have hot priest
we?
from Fleabag.
Can we?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay. Sure.
God, yes, we can.
Just remembering Father Intitola from Sopranos every time I think of
Oh,
literally the worst character in that entire TV series. I fucking hate
even
it so
even
much.
more than Tony's mum.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
ruled. She was the best. she was the best of the characters. Her and Janice, man, they're just
Oh
legendary.
my god, Janice. Well, I watched a show that you mentioned Succession earlier, and this one has been billed as Succession in a Renaissance fair. I would say that's pretty accurate.
Wow, that's a good
Okay.
pitch.
It's
Okay.
HBO, 3 episodes. I think it's produced by the Safdies. I will double check that because I don't want to be giving people undue credit if they did not produce it. But yes, it is the Safdies. Anyway, so the guy who runs the Texas Ren Fair, he founded it like 40 odd years ago. King George.
Right.
He's in his 80s. He's into a bit of spiritualism stuff and realizes or says that he only has like a few years to live. So he's thinking about getting rid of the Texas Ren Fair. He doesn't just have the Ren Fair, by the way. He's done like a Disneyland where he's bought all the land and people live on it, and it's basically a town. And then there are people who work for him who want to buy it. Or so there is the former director of entertainment, who's now the general manager, and who is, by all accounts, not really very good at it. There is Darla. I can't remember what her job title is, but she's like this badass bitch, like gets all the business stuff done. She's just, I don't think she wants it. She does want it, but like she's not making the moves as much as this other guy who is I likened him to the Littlefinger of the series. These are all real people, by the way.
Sure.
This guy is in charge of the kettle corn at the fair.
Cattle corn.
The kettle corn,
Kettle corn.
which is like, Jake, what's
It's
kettle
popcorn,
corn?
but sweet instead of
Yeah.
buttery and salty.
Okay. All right.
Like
okay.
he's in charge of this, and he has like bars and stuff on
Okay.
at the fair.
And
it's
before you go forward, is this is real? It's like a documentary.
Yes.
Okay.
And so basically there are all these people who are vying for control of the fair. George, bearing in mind he's this 80-odd-year-old guy, just wants to get laid. He is on
Oh yeah.
all the dating websites, and eventually
At 80 years old.
he's on the sugar daddy websites.
Oh,
And
shit.
I'm not gonna lie.
Does he have sugar daddy money? Does he have sugar daddy money?
Oh yeah, this fair is huge. There are
Okay.
He goes on dates with 20-something-year-old women at
Oh.
Olive Garden, and I shit you not, he has like a list of stuff like, "Are your breasts natural?" Like, like you have to pause and read his little questionnaire.
Oh my god.
And anyway, and so it's really good.
This is a Lucia show right here.
It's great. I watched it. You know, it's 3 hour-long
Straight trash.
episodes.
Straight trash.
But okay, so there's like the intrigue. You kind of like you kind of root for them all. except for George, in their own ways, in terms of like who should be in charge of the fair. But the thing that gets me is that it's alarmingly well shot, like way too well shot for a documentary. Like it's very filmic. There's a lot of grain on it as well, I guess. I don't know. It looks great, and then they're kind of going around the fair, and you're seeing the people who have worked and lived there for 30-something years who all love George, and then you go in to see George's house, and it looks like something that Liberace threw up in, right? That's the kind of place that he's built for himself.
That's awesome.
It's really great. I think I've seen a lot of like backlash against it. Like it doesn't really have like that high of an IMDb rating. Like I was surprised it was like 6 point something, but I found it super compelling. I got a few of my friends to watch it. They really enjoyed it. Dala's the vendor coordinator, so she's very, very important. Like she's in charge of like all the vendors and stuff. Right. It's really, really well. Like it tells a really good tight story, and it's got
what's it called again?
Heroes and Villains. It's called Ren Fair.
Ren Fair.
Ren Fair. It was HBO, 3 episodes, so it doesn't outstay its welcome. I enjoyed it a lot. Also,
the whole thing is 3 episodes.
Whole thing is 3 episodes.
Love that.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna like a little tease. Shrek appears more than you think he would.
What?
All right.
Shrek is referenced a strange amount.
Okay,
that's good.
There's also there's a bit in the in the first episode with Shrek that I had my friend Andrew text me going, "What the fuck am I watching?" Anyway,
I'm in.
I really enjoyed it. So that's what I've been enjoying.
Cool.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, and I think that brings us to a close for another episode
does.
of the Friends Per Second podcast. Now we're all Elden Ring pilled. Jake will
get there eventually.
We'll see.
We'll see.
That's it. We'll see.
But Jake, what you got going on?
Nothing.
You're on tour.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I got nothing going on.
So it's like gaming adjacent. It's not really gaming, but the YouTube channel I started with many years ago, over 10 years ago. We were like a movie channel. We would just do jokes and make fun of movies and stuff. We're kind of reunited a little bit. We've done stuff before, but we're going on tour now. And we're doing movie commentary tracks. It's what we've done, but now we're doing them live in front of an audience, and we're watching all of the Saw movies. It's the Hot Saw Summer tour. So we're doing a different Saw movie, and we're gonna watch it and make fun of it and talk shit. A different Saw movie in every city. So tickets are available. You go to hotsawsummer.com, and it's we already did one in New York. Had a full house, good crowd. It was really funny and silly, and like everybody was like screaming when the big reveal happened, and we're all like joking and stuff. It's a good time. So if that's your thing, look into it. If not, because we're very obnoxious.
Sure.
But yeah, it's cool. It's a good time.
Ralph, what about you?
Well, man, I got some Summer Games Fest stuff coming out this week from like coverage from back then. So they're working on that, and I'm going to be playing some Destiny now that I've got Elden Ring out of my system. It's time to begin the review process for that, and then just chilling out really, because like there's not much, it's very quiet for the next little while. I think in July the only like big game releasing is like Frostpunk 2 at the end of July.
That's my
Other
game,
than that,
though.
it's like quiet, properly quiet. So there's like the first Descendant, which I don't really care about, and like there's like little things or whatever. But I'm gonna just take July to chill a bit, recharge the batteries after a massive June, and I'm looking forward to it.
Good.
Cool.
The show that I've been working on at GameSpot just came
Yeah.
out. Star Players.
Tell us.
So it's an interview show where I talk to a bunch of celebrities about video games. It's very weird because you don't really hear celebrities talk about gaming too much, especially not in a specific interview that's just about gaming. But we've had some really great guests. Like the first episode is with Monet Exchange, who's a drag queen who I love. Next episode will be Dominic Monaghan. We've got Steve-O,
Nice.
Rahul Kohli.
Did you get Henry Cavill?
No.
He's a gamer.
I know. He's gonna be a father now.
I know. Yeah, heard about that. Saw that.
Johnny from the band Health.
Cool.
And Aisha Tyler, and so like it's been really fun, and it's just genuinely been so nice to just talk about gaming. And the thing is that that's been really nice is that everyone who's done the show has been like, it's been just a really fun conversation. And I think, you know, a lot of celebrity interview stuff nowadays is just like true or false games or whatever. Because you get like 6 minutes with them, right? And you have to talk about the new project or whatever. And I think, and like Abu Bakr Salim as well. I almost forgot him because he was the first one we recorded back in like March. That's how long I've been working on this show.
You've been working on it for a long time.
Yeah. So Abu, who's now in House of the Dragon, he and I like played Golden Axe and like talked about Kingdom Hearts and
cool. That's fantastic.
You know, the stuff like Dominic Monaghan really loves Planet Zoo, and it's like all these cool things, and you know, you just connect with people over video games, and I've had such a fun time recording it, and I'm so glad it's finally out there and that people seem to be enjoying it. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, it's over on GameSpot.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's a good watch.
Yeah.
Well, that about does it. Thank you everyone for listening or watching. If you have sent in a user question, if you have rated us on your podcast platform of choice, that really helps us out. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Jake, what do we have to do now? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Tie your shoes and go to bed.